Hey, oh, it's Sooty and Co. Everybody say hello. There's Sooty and Sweep, a panda called Sue, and little cousin Stampy too. It's Sooty and Company. Yay!
Wow, okay.
Beautiful, isn't it?
I'd forgotten that even had a theme tune.
Yeah,
I
it did.
wouldn't have been able to tell you that one, no.
I remember because they were in some kind of dodgy shop.
Some kind of dodgy shop, right, okay.
It was never quite legitimate. They were doing like scrap metal and stuff.
Alrighty, okay. Dealing drugs under the table, or what? Was it getting into magic roundabout territory?
Sooty's magic wand was a code word for meth, I think.
Right, okay, fair enough.
I ruin people's childhoods.
Yes, you do. Every week. Every single week. Except last week when we weren't here.
Yeah, we apologise for that.
I apologise for that because I wasn't here.
And me and John are too inept to do it by ourselves, so...
Yes.
Clearly,
You're
I'm
holding the show
the
together.
fine glue in between the more prominent voices of the show.
Absolutely. Fall apart.
Well, it's John talking for 2 hours and me doing a theme tune.
Well, I'm sure... Well, it's your New Year's resolution to play games, so you can contribute. What have you played?
Oh, wow, are we sprinting through this?
No, well, I can do an intro if you want. Hello and welcome to Button Mash Podcast. Michael's going to talk about games.
Yep.
For 2 hours, go on.
Well, the history of gaming started back in the 1950s.
It was invented by a man called Dave Video Games. This may
Ooh.
or may not be accurate.
Wikipedia told me, so it's true.
Indeed. It never lies at all, except when you edit it so that it does.
Shall I introduce you?
Do you want to introduce? Yeah, go on, you do the intro. Go on.
Joining me on this podcast is John, who has a YouTube channel. What is it?
Did you wow? Did you explicitly do that just so that you could do your own segue 2 minutes earlier than ever before?
Yep. Will's here too.
Just in the background. Don't mind me.
Right. To follow up on the segue, my YouTube channel is youtube.com/buttonmashempire. There we go. Got that out of the way.
Yep, so now we can carry on without issue.
Right. Are we constituting it as having done the intro, or do I actually follow up here? I feel like we've tripped up a little.
Go on, you can restart if you want.
Hello and welcome to Button Mash Podcast. We talk about video games and video games accessories. We'll be here for the next couple of hours. We're talking about our gaming experiences for the week, and then doing some news and the new releases for the week. I guess we've already kind of done people, but joining me this week the Button Mash Horse, Michael, who sang the theme tune, Sooty and Sweep.
Hello, as always, I'm sorry.
And once again, Will joins us
Hello.
to be introduced for like the third time.
I think we might have to warn people that this podcast might be slightly longer than usual.
It could be. There's a lot of games. There's a ridiculous number of games, actually. I don't know what.
And we actually have news this week.
We kind
Not
of
just
have,
gossip.
we still put some filler content in there. To be fair, the lighter side of the news, the fluff. The hey, look at this squirrel on jet skis.
Hey, look, Barry Chuckle's not dead.
Is he not?
Yeah, he went on Look North to announce it, so...
Did they actually bring him on? Just say, are you dead?
No, I think it was like 3 years ago now, that he was just... And now a report from Barry Chuckle. Barry Chuckle is fed up with people saying he's dead. Just cut to Barry Chuckle. I'm not dead. It's getting annoying.
Oh man, is that on YouTube?
I've tried to find it. I can't find it. People don't believe me when I say it happened, but it did. And it was the funniast
I want to
thing
see
I've
that
ever seen.
now. I want to see that. Oh, that has to exist somewhere on the internet.
I'm going to look for it exclusively, and I'll post it onto the Facebook.
Amazing.
But, my God, it was so funny.
I would incorporate it into the podcast in some way, shape, or form if I could, but
just take a voice rendering of it, and now the Barry Chuckle section. I'm not dead.
Can we just take that voice clip and just play it every week, just to remind people that he's not dead? We can just pretend we've got him on as a guest each week. And now over to Barry Chuckle. I'm not dead. Thanks, Barry Chuckle, and on with the show.
I would have no objection to doing this.
I think we might have to see if we can make that happen.
That's a project for next week.
The problem is someone, I mean, I presume you, is going to have to keep a fairly beady eye on whether he actually is dead, because then we actually do run the risk of he's going to get hit by a car or something one week, and we're just like not going to notice, and we're just going to like, I'm not dead, and it's just like, and today in the news, Barry Chuckle sadly died in a car accident.
Until he appears on Look North. I survived! I think we may have gone massively off topic there.
I'm cool with it. It's not like we're normally that consistent about it.
Nope, and that's why people
don't watch us. Indeed. Anyway, yeah, video games, that's a thing, right?
Yep.
That's a thing people might or might not be interested in.
It's what we're not paid to talk about.
Yep, which is why we don't talk about it. So how about that Barry Chuckle?
What a legend.
All right, let's stop faffing. What y'all been playing?
I've been playing Resident Evil HD Remastered, which is the game that we talked about like before December, I think. Way before December when I was talking about Evil Within.
I don't remember, but I have the memory of a goldfish, so...
I made the comparison between this Resident Evil and the Evil Within. This is the one that was re-released on the GameCube, but was an original release from, I think, late 90s?
I don't know, I'm not up on my Resident Evils.
It's the one where you have to... It's the one with the really, really clunky controller, and you've got to burn the zombies, otherwise they come back as Crimson Heads. Is probably the hardest and my favourite of all the Resident Evils.
Okay.
Can't beat those classics.
No, it is bloody amazing, especially for its time.
I vaguely got a recollection of having heard other people this week and such talking about actually, fighting slow-moving traditional zombies as opposed to, just ones that are actually fairly threatening, whereas these days you kind of got the tradition in zombie games of like, here's 500 zombies at once, drive over them all with this car that has chainsaws attached to it.
That zombie is riding a dinosaur.
Yeah, that kind of thing, whereas, I guess the Resident Evil is a bit more, it's like, oh, these are the shambling undead come to feast on your flesh, fight them off with a puny pistol, and it's going to take a lot of shots, and they're actually going to probably be fairly concerning.
Yeah, there aren't a lot of zombies in this game, but you don't have a lot of bullets either. Mm-hmm. And the problem is, if you don't burn them afterwards, they come back as Crimson Heads, and they are a lot tougher, a lot faster, and they have mean, sharp claws.
Okay, sounds like fun.
I completely...
So it's zombie evolution, then?
Kind of, yeah. It's... I'd forgotten that the best tactic in this game is to not kill the zombies so they don't come back as Crimson Heads. I got a little bit trigger happy, and now I have lots of Crimson Heads to deal with.
Right.
So I may have to restart the game at some point.
Right, fair enough.
Because you've only got limited kerosene to burn them all as well. And there's not enough bullets in the game to even kill the zombies that were already there.
So you kind of got to make a tactical choice about sort of thinning them out, I guess, yeah?
Very tactical, but you're in initially you're in the mansion, there's some really tight corridors, you can't always get past zombies.
I have a vague recollection of playing the first one. Someone forced me to play it way back when. They were like, here, Resident Evil's great, here, play this game. And I was just thoroughly put off by the controls. And it was like, this is not fun to play. I don't want to play this. It's not like, oh, I'm scared of the zombies or anything. It's just, this is really horrible to control the character in such a way that I just don't want to play this.
It is awful. Because the only way you can aim your gun is sort of 45 degrees up, level, and 45 degrees down.
Right.
It does give you a little auto-aim assist, which is nice, but it's not entirely accurate. It doesn't give you what you need out of an aiming system. Definitely not.
No, that doesn't sound appealing to me. I again, sort of people are like, oh, the real threat of Resident Evil is the control system. It's like, or you could have made the game well designed, and you could have still made it threatening. You could have made the zombies tougher, but allow you to shoot them or something. I don't know.
Madness.
Stop picking flaws in the game design controllers. They did their best.
See, I kind of like the really bad control systems of horror games because it does make you feel helpless. I think it's well designed in a good horror game to have shit controls.
Really? Okay.
To be fair, it's a reflection of what you'd be like in the real life situation, I guess. If a zombie was coming,
Well,
you'd be cool
these
and
are
calm and
supposed to be these are supposed to be sort of STARS military trained operatives. So you'd hope they'd have some kind of composure.
So then it makes no sense that they would freeze up and go, I can't shoot the gun.
Yeah.
You never know till you meet a zombie how someone's going to react.
That's
Well,
true.
fair
None
enough.
of these characters. I guess when you start the game, none of these characters have any experience with zombies. So that's fair enough.
Zombies, terrorists, they're pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Well, that killed the conversation.
I have no response to that. That one gets kicked off the air.
Oh yes, we're going to get kicked off YouTube. Right, okay. Michael, you've got WWE Immortals on your list.
Yes, after the podcast 2 weeks ago, I
Oh,
followed through with my assignments and I downloaded it for my iPhone.
Alright, go on. Give us all the gory details.
Basically, it's Mortal Kombat, but with WWE wrestlers.
Fair enough.
All right.
Okay.
Well, the idea behind the concept of the game is, and I don't understand it, is that they found a magic lamp. No.
I like it already.
And they dropped the magic lamp, which has turned all the WWE superstars into warriors and Vikings. So basically Mortal Kombat character rip-offs.
Fair enough.
I mean, it's fun. It's because it's an iPhone kind of thing. It's just tapping mostly and swipes, that kind of thing. But it's a free game. It's mildly entertaining. And it's kind of, you can tag people in and out and you can upgrade as you go along. So, yeah, it's not been too painful for me to play. It's not too much of a waste of time. WWE's done worse things, so...
It's a free-to-play thing, though, isn't it?
Yes, it is, yeah.
How does that work? Is it horrible, or is it sort of... How have they monetized it? Because presumably they aren't just giving it away just out of the kindness of their hearts.
I'm not quite sure yet. Basically, when you win battles, you get coins and you can cash those in. I'm guessing eventually at some point there'll be a system where you can buy, like main event characters, and that will probably cost you money at some point. But for the moment, as far as I can see, it's a free-to-play game.
So it's not really gouged you for anything just yet?
No, yeah, but I'm sure it's coming.
Right. Well, you never know. Sometimes things are done fairly reasonably. It's just like when it's like, oh, there's a big brand shoehorning some weird thing into a free-to-play thing. It's usually a sign. It's like, yeah, they're probably going to do something bad with it. I mean, you just need to look at stuff like what EA did with the Dungeon Keeper.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like, yeah, oh, you can wait 4 hours to clear out 1 square of your dungeon. Or you could pay £1 and we can do it now. It's like, that's not how Dungeon Keeper works. Go away, EA.
Yeah, well, you're trusting EA there.
Sorry?
You were trusting EA there, so...
I know, I hadn't touched that one, to be honest. But I've seen people playing it, and it's like, nah, that's not a game anybody really wants to invest any time or money into. But some people may well have done, unfortunately, because that's the way it works. Is preying on people who have lost money and no sense, I guess.
I think the big gaming news that I've got for you this week is I have a new job on Football Manager.
You've been hired? A new team, or
I am now the manager of the national team of Finland.
The national Finland team? Okay, right.
Yep,
Is it that bad that you got deported?
No, I willingly took the job. I am now trying to get Finland into the 2018 World Cup.
Alright, we got a few years to work on it.
Yeah, I'm just searching all the leagues, trying to find those Finnish gems. I'm struggling slightly.
Is that what that actually entails from that position? You've got to like watch the international leagues and try and find the right players for it.
Yeah, you scour the leagues. You get put together your national team for the games, and we're in the World Cup qualifiers at the moment. I've just beaten Estonia, so I think it's off to a promising start.
Right. Okay. Cool. Well, I wish you the best of luck in getting into the World Cup, and then in the World Cup.
Thank you. I will do it solely as a dedication to you.
Well, thank you. That's much appreciated.
I'm Barry Chuckle.
Barry Chuckle. Can you name the players? Can you put Barry Chuckle in the game?
I can give someone a nickname, Barry Chuckle.
Do it.
To me, to you.
Pass to me. Pass to you.
Why is Barry Chuckle not a football manager? Somebody has missed a trick.
He's got a great mental attitude for it.
Indeed. He's got the tactics down anyway.
It's like watching Barcelona.
Football.
John, I believe you have quite a lot of games that you wanted to talk about this week.
Yeah, I've listed pretty much everything I've played in the last 2 weeks. I will try and curtail it to some sort of reasonable ones. I don't know where I want to start, though. Suppose I'll start at the top of the list. 80 Days! I played that again.
How are you getting on?
I gave up on the one I was doing on my channel because I just screwed that one up royally. I kind of got to... Where did I get? I think I got as far as... I think I went
Finland?
to... No, I got to, like, Brazil.
Ooh, Brazil.
And then I ran out of money, like, in the middle of the Amazon. There aren't any banks in the middle of the Amazon.
Yeah, that's not the best place to run out of money.
No, it's not. So at that point, it was like, Also, because now we're traveling through shitty places like the middle of the Amazon. Fogg's like whinging, is like, oh, this is crap, and his heart meter in the corner is sat at 0. He's like, I don't want to travel while I'm in a bad mood. And there's no hotels, and you can't afford any hotels because you got any money, so you can't put him in a good mood, so he's not willing to travel. And it's like, oh, you just can't move. I just completely screwed up that run, and it's like, I can't finish this. I just can't.
Did you have the option to knock him out and just drag him along?
No, he is your master. That's generally frowned upon.
Jackie Chan would have done it.
Jackie Chan never worked for an English gentleman. Well, he may have done, actually. I don't know. He's done a lot of films.
Didn't you have the option to give like a rousing speech?
No, there's no rousing speech option.
Barry Chuckle wouldn't have given in.
I basically started another playthrough on my phone, again, just for me kind of thing. And I found on their website, it's like, oh, for the Android edition of it, we added extra content that isn't in the other versions of it. So if you've got it on iOS, you can't do this. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. What was it? It's like, there's a new destination you can go to on Android that you can't go onto in the other formats. The North Pole.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, yes, I'm going to do this polar expedition. It's really interesting. It's a really good way to do it. It's kind of easy. It feels like cheating, but it's a cool story.
Are you going to end up like Captain Scott?
We kind of nearly did.
Oh,
I finished it. I got around the world in 56 days. Like I say, it's really easy to do because you cut out like a third of the planet for like very little money. And yeah, at that point, it's like you've got loads of money and ridiculous amounts of time. Even if you screw things up, you've got so much leeway. It's really not a problem. And yeah, it's like at that point, it's like, oh yeah, around the world in 56 days. It's like, okay, cool. But yeah, you kind of get on board some giant walking snow skiing automaton thing that some engineers have built, and they go on an expedition, but someone sabotages it and you break down on the ice and you spend like a week just on the ice not moving, which is kind of scary.
This is a B film.
Well, they get rescued at last minute just as everyone's about to die. Spoiler alert, I suppose.
Too late now.
But yeah, that's a cool route to go. It's worth reading through.
This game is a lot more detailed than I anticipated it.
Oh, have you tried playing it?
No.
Oh right, or you just from my stories.
Yeah.
All right.
How much does it cost?
I think it's like £3-4. It's probably it's kind of at the price point that a lot of people would go, oh no, I'm not paying that much for a mobile game. Holy crap, it's a really good game for the price. If you're used to paying for PC games that cost more than that, it's like you're getting a really goddamn good game for £3-4 there. It's amazing. But yeah, like I said, by the time you get past the £1 mark, you've already put off quite a lot of mobile users, I think. A lot of people are going to go, no, I'm not paying that much for a mobile game.
The snobbery. It knows no bounds.
It's the mobile market, that's just the way it goes. So, yeah, I think that's going to put a lot of people off, and I think it's a shame because it's a really goddamn amazing game. So yay, North Pole, getting stuck on the ice. That was fun.
Always is.
Mm-hmm. Rush Fusion is out. That came out yesterday. No, Friday even. I'm in the credits.
Wow. That's
So-
a pretty dedicated playthrough.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned this a while back, because I was one of the beta testers for it, and they were kind of running a little bit of a competition kind of thing. There was like, oh, if you help test it, we'll put you in the credits. If you help test it quite a bit, we'll give you a copy of the game at launch. And if you help test it like loads and loads and loads, we'll let you design something for the game.
And why did you end up in the credit scheme?
I got the top one!
Well
Oh,
done.
brilliant! Well done.
Yeah, they gave it to 2 people in the end, that one. But yeah, I kind of on just shortly before launch, I kind of launched up the game and went into the credits in the game. I was like, these people made it, these people did the sound, these people did the coding, these people did the artwork. Beta testers, first name on the list, me and some other guys. Like, these guys top pride players. I was like, whoa, oh, I wasn't expecting to be quite so high up. Oh, that's awesome. That's really
Nice.
cool. So yes, I'm in there.
We need a celebration.
Yes, I shall have a fancy beer. Wait, I've already got one. Excellent. Well prepared.
Yep. And I don't have to do anything.
Mm-hmm. Right. So yeah, that's go buy that. That's awesome. I'm not invested in it in any way, shape, or form.
No.
No, that's a very cool game. Yeah, it's kind of roguelitey kind of shoot 'em up thing that I have become rather good at over the course of the last month or so. As of the day before launch, I did have the high score. I did note at launch somebody had knocked me off the top place. I had like 660 million as a top score. At time of launch, someone posted a score of like 1.3 billion.
Wow.
God damn it. So yeah, I get to design an item in the game now, and that for me is that I'm in exactly the same place as I am with that card game that I backed on Kickstarter last year, which is like, hey,
yes.
we need you to design the thing for our game, and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Rubber chicken with a pulley in the middle.
Yes. I
Yeah.
wonder if I could do that. It's an interesting one. How would that work in the context of a spaceship?
It fires the gun.
It would allow you to get from one end of the screen to the other without taking any damage.
That's interesting. That is interesting.
It's one hell of a distraction.
Yeah. Interesting. I shall have to give that some consideration.
Oh, don't, for God's sake, don't. Don't encourage me.
The game is already full of ridiculous references to things anyway. If you go through the achievements, one of the achievements is I'm gonna have to look up the exact number. It's like a really long number, and I can't remember what it actually is. So I'm gonna have to bring up my Steam achievements for this one. It's on here somewhere. It is thousands, hundreds of thousands is the name of the achievements. It's for dealing more than 1,771,561 points of damage.
That's very specific.
That's very specific. Do you know why it's so specific? Do you know what the importance of that number is?
Go on.
That is exactly how many tribbles were on the Enterprise
Fantastic.
when they fell onto Captain Kirk.
Brilliant.
Ah, Kirk.
Yep. So yeah, I was like, that number's so specific, it has to be something. And actually, the icon for it is like fluffy blobs as well. I was like, what the hell is this? Like, I put it into Google, and one of the top results you get is a Stack Exchange thread of a bunch of Star Trek geeks just. Was Spock's numbers right when he said there were 1,771,561 tribbles? Is that accurate? And someone went and did the numbers and were like, yes, that is exactly how many tribbles there would have been. Which is ridiculous. There is a achievement called Gotta Catch 'Em All, which requires you to get 1,337 ultimate orbs in one game.
That's pretty cool.
There's the Trinity's ultimate is called the Triforce.
Of course.
Yeah. There's a bunch of other there's another one. There's one called It's Super Effective, which is for activating 42 ultimate weapons. So yeah, they managed to get both a Pokemon and a Hitchhiker's Guide reference into the same achievement.
Yeah, that's quite the achievement.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that in the game. The kill streak combos, or combos for getting a lot of enemies killed in a very short period of time, are the kill streak announcements from Unreal Tournament. So when you get 5, it's Killing Spree, 10 is Rampage, and so on up to Godlike. But if you've not played Unreal Tournament, you might not be familiar with those. I don't know. But
I'm familiar with it.
I picked them out. So when I started getting those achievements, it was like Killing Spree 5, Rampage 10. I was like, that's exactly how the Unreal Tournament was starting there. It was dominating, unstoppable. It's like, yeah, no, they're just using the Unreal Tournament ones.
Well, they work.
Yeah. Well, I asked the devs on the forum. I was like, did you just take those from Unreal Tournament? It was like, yep, yes we did.
I love the fact he was unashamed about it.
Yep. So, that's the thing. To continue on my ridiculous list, a game, I think you'd really like this one, Michael.
Ooh, I'm intrigued.
Questerium Sinister Trinity HD Collector's Edition.
That rolls off the tongue.
We mentioned it briefly in when we were going through the game releases a few weeks back. You know, we kind of touched on it just because because of the name. It's just like, what the hell is this name? Clicked on it. It's like, oh, it's just a point-and-click adventure game. It's like, it's nothing particularly interesting looking. And it turns out the developers sent me 2 Steam keys for that. They sent me a copy for it's 2 days before launch and then on launch day. And they sent me it through the YouTube messaging system, which, just FYI, is the worst way to get in touch with any person on the planet imaginable. Nobody on the planet checks those things on a regular basis. At all. You cannot get hold of people that way. It doesn't work. I happened to check a few days after launch, by the time, any reasonable opportunity to cover the game had long since passed. At that point, I mean, I'm happy to talk about it now, but I probably won't cover it on my channel. But at that point, I was like, okay. I mean, it's pure coincidence that I happened to check it now. I could quite easily have left this another 2-3 months before I ever checked these again, and I would have been like, oh shit, they sent me a Steam key 3 months ago. So it was pure fluke that I found it as close to launch as I did. So yeah, they sent me 2 Steam keys for that for whatever reason on 2 separate days. That's really strange. So I got a spare one if you want a copy, Michael. It's like I say, it is a hidden object game with some puzzle stuff. It's very, very casual, but it's filled with some hilariously cheesy, bad FMV sequences. It's proper B-movie territory.
Ooh.
So, I mean, if you look it up on Steam, I think their trailer's probably in the same sort of ballpark. You kind of got some bald guy with goggles and stuff that's the mad scientist kind of character. And it's all done in really cheap green screening kind of stuff. And yeah, you got some evil guy who's covered in lightning who's running around terrorizing some small children, and you're a police officer and you need to go rescue the children, and the mad scientist keeps popping up and cutting cables with chainsaws and things to stop you making progress through the town, and it's just really amusingly bad.
I'll tell you what, give me the Steam key, I'll play it, and I'll give you my take on it next week.
Excellent, alright, I will do.
Something to look forward to, kids.
So that's something. Yes. Something came out last week. I played through. I thought would have been a good one to talk about last week was Tengami, which we saw at. Actually, I've seen it at PAX and Rezzed now. They were at Rezzed when Button Mash went to Rezzed a couple of years back. They had it on. It's been around for a while now. Excuse me. They launched it on iOS originally, and then I think they developed it for the Wii, and it's recently come out on PC now. And now I think they're working on it for Android, which is weird because I thought Android was already out. To be honest, I thought it seems weird to develop for PC. It starts on iOS and then to develop for PC before Android, but I don't know. I guess maybe Android is just horrible to develop for. I think it probably is. That is the Japanese pop-up book kind of point-and-click story puzzle thing.
I see this working very well for touchscreens.
It's, well, given there's nothing really unique to touchscreen, it doesn't require multi-touch or anything, so the interface is exactly identical with a mouse. It's just click on something and drag it and move it around a bit, so it really doesn't lose anything by being on PC.
That's good.
It's a very pretty game. It does have a nice soundtrack, although when I played it on launch day, it kind of had a couple of bugs where the music would cut out sort of halfway through the track. You'd be like, oh, this is pleasant, and then jarringly the music stops. It's like, oh, okay. I hope they may have fixed that by now. I need to stop buying stuff on launch day. I've done that a few times recently, and it's like, this is not quite working. I don't know. Maybe people need to hire me as a QA guy for them. I could tell them things wouldn't work.
You and your ridiculously high standards.
Well, hey, go play Roche Fusion and find me some bugs in there.
Touche.
We might just get that game just to see you in the credits and go, I know that guy.
Speaking of things with bugs on launch day, I also got Karma Flow, the rock opera video game.
You were talking about this the other week.
I've been looking forward to this for a long time.
And were you disappointed?
A little bit.
Oh no.
I am kind of a little bit, yeah.
I don't know why I did a ghost that was meant to be opera. So.
I was going to say, I've tried to be really positive about it in the videos I've made on my channel, but at the same time, it's kind of getting to the point where it's like, I can't deny that this game is just goddamn broken.
Goddamn broken.
Goddamn broken. Well, first things first, on launch day, pressing new game on the title screen didn't actually start a new game. It's a good start to things.
Yeah, that's an
you just thought they'd have tested that one. You just thought they'd have picked up on that before launch. But no, pressing new game actually doesn't start a new game. It just takes you back to the title screen. You have to press continue to actually do that. I think, judging by what I played today, I think they've just gotten rid of the title screen. I think they're just like, this doesn't work. Get rid of it. Hide it. It doesn't work. So when you get to the title screen, it's just like, oh, press any button to start, and it just launches straight into the game. So, yeah. That's where it's at now. So I guess it kind of works, but in a weird kind of way. Then when it's like playing cutscenes, you still have control of your character, you just can't see them. You can hear the noise of your character moving around and jumping and stuff behind the music and stuff, and the scene's playing. It's like, yeah, that's not supposed to have started yet. Which is kind of weird. I've fallen out of the world a couple of times. They got some weird bits where they shoot you through a big tube with giant jets of wind and stuff, and you're like, oh, dodge the obstacles while you're flying through the air, and it's just, I think your character's moving so bloody fast that eventually you just go pop through the wall, and it's just like, oh, now where am I? Okay, alright, I've broken everything. And normally game design logic would be like, oh, well, just in case somebody does manage to get here somehow, let's put, the technical term for it would be a kill wall. It's a invisible wall that if your character walks past it, they are killed, and you just go back to wherever the last checkpoint is. This would be the standard one. No, didn't bother putting any of them in. If you jump off the map, you just keep falling. Forever.
Oh, dear. Just falling. I'm falling.
Yep, so it's like, okay, I literally just have to pause it and go return to last checkpoint. At which point it's... well, that broke the game and took me back to where I'd been 5 minutes previously. Again, going via the title screen, or semi-title screen, whatever it is. When you finish each section of the game, it goes back to the title screen. It really likes the title screen.
Everyone likes the title screen.
It's like, oh, end of Act 1, here's the title screen. We're like, what? What? And just, yeah, there's just lots of things that just don't quite work, and it's just doesn't seem quite as well polished as it could have been. They, you know, if they had another couple months and actually had some useful beta testing feedback from some actual QA people, it could have been really good, but it just feels like they had no noteworthy QA for it. I mean, I guess it's kind of, it's one of those, oh, it's our artistic vision kind of things, but often, like, they'll drag camera control away from you. It's like, oh, look, there's some creatures running across in the distance, so your camera's going to just lurch to the side and point at the things so that you can look at them, and it's like, that's not great design either. Surely, I don't know, make it interesting enough that the player goes, ooh, what's that, and looks that way naturally, rather than saying, you must look at this now.
Yeah, that is a tad troubling.
Yeah, when control is taken away from the player, it just kind of, it's like, well, who's playing this game at this point? Am I playing it, or is it playing me?
Are we all here, or is it just a dream?
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Yeah.
Caught in a landslide.
And there's the content ID patch.
So yeah, not a fan of that one then.
I think it's salvageable. I think it is, but I'm tempted to say give it a few weeks, let them fix it. There's a good game at the core of it, but there's a lot of issues right now with it. There really are, and they haven't attended to. I mean, it doesn't perform well either on my computer, and I've just upgraded it to be a really nice computer, for crying out loud. I've got a 4.2 gigahertz processor overclocked to 4.5, and I've got a GTX 970 graphics card in here. This thing's running at 45, 50 frames per second when I'm not recording, and frequently less than 30 frames per second when I am recording. It doesn't look good enough to justify that. It's pretty, but it doesn't. No, it can't get away with that. No. If it looked like, you know, some massive multi-million AAA title, you'd be like, okay, I'm not like using SLI'd 980s or anything, so maybe it wouldn't run quite as good as I'd expect. But no, it's on the higher end of graphics for it's still an indie game with a very small team and a limited budget. It's pretty, but it's not stop you in your tracks. Breathtakingly gorgeous, photorealistic.
How does the soundtrack compare, though? Because I think that was the big selling point, wasn't it?
The soundtrack is excellent, actually. I will say that much. Yes, the soundtrack's great. The end of Act 1, you end up with the kind of the main antagonist and the sort of the hero in the narrative kind of getting this epic duet kind of thing going on. They're flying around and just singing at each other, and it's like, it's really fucking cool. That bit's really awesome. And then there's kind of got this weird sort of moral choice, but not really kind of system that just it'll kind of pause the song, kind of mid-song, and it'll be like in the middle of a battle, like the enemy will freeze the hero, and then it'll stop the music, and two bubbles will pop up on the screen. It was like, now you have a choice to make here. Do you want to help the hero, or do you want to help the enemy who wants to plunge the universe and the world into eternal darkness? And it's like, right, moral choice, huh? So yeah, I'm not sure how much of the story that affects, because obviously I'm only at the end of Act 1, and I think there's like 5 acts to the game. So I say Act 1. I think they're calling the 2 halves of the game, because they're releasing the other half of the game in April, Act 1 and Act 2. So it's like Chapter 1, I suppose. At the end of Chapter 1, I don't know how that affects the rest of the game from this point onwards. I think the choices you make during the song affect the rest of the song. I think they use different lyrics depending on how you pick options.
That's interesting.
I think that's how that one works. I suspect it probably would affect the story, but I really don't know. I'd have to play through it a couple times to find out, I suppose. That's how they get you.
Do you have to pay for the second part?
No, if you buy the first one, the second part's free.
That's all right then.
It's as I mentioned to a couple of people, I think it's the what do you call it? It's the Broken Age model, I suppose. It's the shit, we ran out of money. Let's sell them the first half and give them the second half when we've made the second half out of the money from the first half kind of model.
That's using your business savvy.
Yeah. Either that or it's exploiting your customers. I'm not sure which.
It's one of the two.
Yeah. So, I'm not sure how happy I am with that, but I've been wanting to play it for a long time, so it's like, okay, I'm buying this. They did get back to me and say, oh, here's a review copy, by the way. It was like 2 days after launch, and it was like, I bought it, mate.
Oh, dear.
So, yeah, there's that. So, yeah, I'm hoping they're going to patch that, but right now, I think I just want to hang fire on it until they do something. They actually posted something on Facebook, actually, saying, oh, if anybody's got any issues, post them to this email address, and lots of people posting, and they're like, oh, thanks for bearing us with us, and the developers were really responsive on that thread. It was like, oh, yeah, we know about this, thanks for reporting this, and I posted on there, I was like, so an issue you haven't addressed yet is like, what about performance, because I'm running on this GTX 970, and it just shouldn't be running at the frame rates it is on a 970, that's kind of low, and they're like, oh, yeah, we had issues with the Unreal Engine, we've got in touch with Epic, but we're waiting for them. It's like, a bit of a cop-out answer, but alright. At least they're willing to say this is where we're at with it, but there you go.
Yeah.
It's Epic's fault, apparently.
Oh dear. It's always Epic's fault.
Yes. Gravity Ghost. Gravity Ghost is out tomorrow. Will, you've got Gravity Ghost.
I do, but I haven't installed it yet.
Well, you can't install it yet because it's not out yet.
Yeah. If it's out tomorrow, I might be able to preload it.
No, because I've tried that. I would have tried that myself. They've sent me some preview copies as well. But if you already had it on your Steam account, that you can't use the preview copy. So I've actually had to set up a separate Steam account to install the preview copy to actually be able to preview it, so that I can get it out on my channel tonight.
Don't you just love
That's a bit elaborate.
Don't you just love games that don't involve any elaborate,
Well,
over-the-top effort?
Yeah, they did apologise in the email they sent. It was like, look, if we'd known it was going to work this way, if we'd known you weren't going to be able to access it, we wouldn't have done it this way, but we didn't know that before, and we didn't realise quite how Steam keys worked like that. So, yeah. But either way, I have had a chance to play through the first hour and a half or so of it. That's really cute.
It does look very cute.
It's cute, it's fun, it's got a good soundtrack, the gameplay is really pleasant. Voice acting is not necessarily great. It's got Ashley Birch, who was in Borderlands 2 and was in the TF2 short they did recently with the bread and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't necessarily think she did the best job she could have done. There's elements of, I don't know if how much of a hand she had in the writing, but there's kind of elements of her character, as it were, in there. Kind of the stuff she does with "Hey Ash, what you playing?" It's kind of, it feels a lot like just Ashley Birch, the character, talking, as opposed to whatever the name of the character in the game is. It's like you've got this really flippant, sort of slightly snarky 20-something-year-old girl. As opposed to this cute, adorable little gravity ghost thing. It's like, this doesn't quite match up with the character I kind of expected here.
So, what would you have done if it had been like, hey, cute ghost, hey, baby?
What? What? That doesn't even make sense in any context.
I'm just pointing out the inaccurate, that you could have got a worse voice actor.
Oh yeah, I mean they could have. They got some talent. They got the Logan Cunningham, who's the narrator from Bastion, to do some of the voices as well.
Oh, sweet, love his voice.
But yeah, Ashley is kind of. I feel like maybe she phoned it in a little bit. I think is perhaps the way I would describe it.
Oh
just
no,
like,
I'm a ghost. Is it that kind of thing?
A little bit, not quite that extreme, but just at times it's just kind of one of those voices that just feels like your heart's not really in this. You're not really playing the character. There is one bit where there's like some guardian spirit mouse thing that forms a constellation of stars that starts singing a song, and there's just one line she delivers, like, if I say your song was good, will you stop singing it? It's like that. Actually, it's like that doesn't fit the character, but it genuinely sounds like Ashley Birch. And it's like that's quite funny. You get a laugh out of it, but it doesn't quite seem. It doesn't fit the game. It fits Ashley Birch, is what I would say.
Which is a slight problem, I would imagine.
I don't know. It depends what you're expecting from it, I suppose. I kind of thought she would play the character, not just be the character, because she's already done that. She's got a web series where she is that character. I expected she would do a different character. That's the thing. I'm not really familiar with her in Borderlands, so I don't know that one, but she certainly got into the role in TF2 when Valve came knocking and said, "Hey, can you do some voice acting?" She played Miss Pauling very well. I thought she was good in that.
Oh, it was a good shot.
So, yeah. Voice acting maybe a bit hit and miss. One of the voice actors just sounded like they had... I don't know if they were going for whether the voice was just supposed to be a bit sort of raspy or if it was a shit mic, and I couldn't quite figure out which it was. So one of their voice actors was just like, "Are you doing this like remotely on a terrible microphone or what?" Because I know... What was it called? Dust and Elysian Tale. I know the voice actors for that, the developer basically hired voice actors working remotely. It was like, yeah, you're on the other side of the planet, but you've got your own microphone here, record these audio files for them and send them to me. And, they didn't hire out a studio for it or anything. And ultimately, some of the voice actors were just like, yeah, you can tell they're using their own microphone. They aren't using some $500 studio microphone. They're using some $100 tops, I'm at home talking to my microphone, like I am kind of thing. And like you guys are.
Yeah.
Your home microphone kind of job.
We could be voice actors.
We could be voice actors if you so desired. I believe there's a forum where most of them hang out. If you want to go sign up, I'm sure you could get started.
I will be the voice for 2D2.
I think there's already one of those, but I...
What? No!
Go on, give us your best R2-D2 impression then.
Beep, beep, beep.
You, sir, are hired.
Thank you.
We needed you for Star Wars 8.
Me's are so happy.
Wait, that's not R2-D2.
Uh-oh.
That's the voice of Jar Jar Binks who's just eaten R2-D2.
Me's are doing a double part.
You just want double paychecks.
Me's are all about the monies.
Okay, that's enough Jar Jar on one podcast. Thank you.
I'm taking a bow.
I believe it.
Go on, what else have you played? We've got to get through your list.
Most of the other days sort of fluff, but I don't know, pick something out you want me to talk about.
Alright, I'm looking.
So mostly, a lot of that's just indie insight stuff, which is stuff I took 15 minutes to look at, to be honest.
What have you been doing on Viscera Cleanup Detail?
Cleaning up things.
Redundant question, yes.
Are you guys familiar with that one?
Yeah.
Alright.
Sushi Cat? What? That was a bit about Sushi Cat.
Oh, have you not played Sushi Cat? Sushi Cat's the best thing in the world. It's
Really?
amazing. I found this on itch.io. It was actually some douchebag had basically stolen it and re-uploaded it and said, "Hey, I made this game," and he's like, "No, you bloody didn't." So I didn't figure that out until afterwards, and I kind of did my research and I was like, "Oh no, it's basically a Flash game that was originally hosted on Armor Games, and the guy's done like several of them. He's probably done I think he's done like 5 of them now, to be honest. And I was doing it on this is niche indie games that you probably won't have heard of, and in this case it was just like, this doesn't remotely fit the bill. This is a Flash game that everybody and their mothers has played, but I don't care because it's Sushi Cat and it's goddamn awesome. It's pachinko with a cat that likes to eat sushi. Which is basically, you kind of end up with this sort of pegboard of different things, kind of a little bit peggly, different boards and different layouts for things to basically drop a ball in at the top and it bounces its way down and you get points at the bottom. And the things that you get points from are sushi. There are sushi scattered around the board. And the ball is the cat. So you just drop a cat in at the top and the cat just sort of rolls his way and bounces around and eats sushi. And he gets bigger as he eats sushi. So you got the cat's, it's like it's made out of rubber as well. It bounces around, it's permanently got this amazing smirk just on its face. It's just the cutest thing in the world. It's got this cat that's just slowly expanding as it eats sushi with a massive smile on its face. It's really cute and funny, and I quite like it.
It's funny until that cat has the massive heart attack.
Well, basically the premise of the game is the cat will frequently encounter problems which can only be solved by getting bigger. And the only way it can get bigger is by eating gratuitous amounts of sushi.
This is where modern doctors and modern medicine's going on.
Oh, indeed. I know the start of the first game, the first thing it encounters is, it was like, it walks past a building, it sees this pink cat in the window, and it falls immediately head over heels in love with the pink cat in the window. And there's an automatic door on the front of the building, and he runs up to it and tries to go into the building, but the sensor doesn't see the cat, and he just bumps into the window. And then he sees a sumo wrestler comes up to the door goes bing, opens, and then closes again. And the cat's like, if I eat some food, I can make the door open. It goes off, and you have to play pachinko and eat sushi in order to get bigger so that the cat can open the door.
What we do for love.
I know. This one in Sushi Cat the Honeymoon is basically after they've fallen madly in love and gotten married and whatnot, and they're on a romantic cruise, but something goes terribly wrong and the ship is about to explode or something.
They're not playing Fiasco, are they?
Probably. But basically, I don't know, something to do with the chimney, I guess, is like, oh, the only way this explosion could possibly be stopped is if something were to block the chimney. Who could possibly block the chimney? Yeah. So the cat immediately goes off to eat more sushi so that it can sit on top of the chimney.
What happens if the cat doesn't eat enough sushi and just falls down the chimney?
That's what he does that in the first place. That's kind of how it's illustrated that he's not big enough, because he immediately jumps up there, goes to the chimney and just falls down and just rolls out a hole in the side of the ship. And he's like, I need to get bigger. And I was like, cue the game.
Won't he just fall in the fire?
It doesn't elaborate quite that detailed.
Yeah, I'm disappointed.
I can't remember what the second problem they have to solve in that game was. I know it ends with you needing to block a volcano. It's like, oh, the volcano's about to erupt and destroy everything. How can we stop it? Sushi Cat to the rescue. Sushi Cat will sit on top of the volcano.
He's lava-proof, it'll be fine.
Yeah! It's just so cute. You got to play it. Just Google it. There's, like I said, there's like 5 of them, and they're really quick, simple things, to be honest. There's like 15 levels, but it'll take you like half an hour tops to play through all of them. And they've got a really cute soundtrack as well.
Tell us a bit about Corgi Simulator 2071.
Oh, that was a Game Jam game. That was a weird-ass one. That's, speaking of, to go back to, like, Questerion, we've got more really cheesy FMV sequences. This was by Ryan from The Men Who Wear Many Hats, and I believe his girlfriend or wife, I'm not sure which it is, his partner, either way, his significant other. Because I've met them before at PAX East, and I was like, oh, I know those guys. I've met them. They offered to play Johann Sebastian Joust with me at one point. And yeah, there's them. They've dressed up really silly as though they're from the future, and taken some really bad green screen shots of them with their dog Watson the Corgi. And you play as Watson the Corgi, and you just kind of have like 3 meters to manage of different resources. As like one's your food meter and one's your energy meter and stuff, and you have to take a nap to regain energy, and you have to keep your food levels high. And you basically need to sort of manipulate your owners, which Ryan and Jamie. It's like, oh, if you bark, Jamie will come, and if you whine, Jamie will give you food. And you can also summon one or the other of them, and they'll bring their laptop, and then if you start barking, they'll run away and leave the laptop. And then, whilst it's unattended, you, Watson the Corgi, can hack into the laptop.
Hang on.
I know, right? It's a future Corgi. It's a data Corgi, is what I believe they called it. It's a Corgi from 2071 that can hack into computers.
I've never quite heard a game description turn quite like that. It's just like a simple simulator, and then he becomes a hacker for the CIA.
So then you have to play this weird little sort of rotate the tiles to match the lines and covers. You have to kind of link up as many tiles as possible without connecting it to a firewall, I guess. And you get points for doing it, and then the more points you do at the end of, I think it's like 1 minute to do this, do as much hacking as you can, and at the end of a minute you kind of get a score at the end of it, and those score, you can then spend those points on, and I never did play long enough to actually figure out what exactly the whole point of this thing was, but there's a little meter at the top of it, which is, I think it gives you half an hour at the start of the game. It's like, oh, the half an hour to go to begin this thing, and the spaceship will arrive in half an hour. And you need to spend your points on slowing down the spaceship and, I presume, eventually trying to stop it. So by spending 30 points, you can gain access to the engine and slow down the engine. Or scramble their navigation and throw them off course and delay them on their way to you.
This sounds really dumb.
It's pretty dumb. I don't know what the point is. It's weird as hell. It's, like I say, it's a game jam thing, and it's just those guys clearly... I think it's mostly they wanted to make a game that used terrible green screen FMV sequences.
As you do.
As you do. Why would you not want to do that? I can see one of you has just highlighted it, so I presume you're Googling it to try and play it now.
Will's hooked.
Will wants to hack into computers as a corgi.
It's been my dream.
It was Martin Luther King Day on Monday. That's a bit of a speech that people always overlook.
Is it?
I have a dream.
That's the bit that's overlooked. Okay.
A corgi.
I had a dream that, yeah. Okay.
We'll stop the aliens.
I think it may be supposed to be like the corgi's owner's coming to collect it or something. I'm not really sure. It's very strange.
Very, very strange indeed.
Yeah. I never did get into Viscera cleanup detail, did I? That's fun.
No.
I like that one.
It is quite fun.
It was a friend of mine on the Strangeland server, Fixer, gifted me a copy because for some reason he had bloody loads of them. He was just like, here, distributing like candy. It's like, Viscera cleanup for everyone. I was like, okay then, sure, thanks, all right.
It's like Oprah. You get a visceral cleanup detail.
You get a mop, and you get a mop, and you get a mop. Now go clean up some alien jibs. I don't know, there's something really satisfying about it, but at the same time...
Or being a janitor.
Yeah, being an alien janitor, basically the premise of it is you are on a alien spaceship, basically after Master Chief or whoever has just been through blowing up aliens. And there's just bits of corpses everywhere. Green and red blood splattered liberally across all surfaces. Chunks of things around the place. Bullet holes, bullets strewn everywhere. And you have to... I think if you want to make it interesting, you kind of put a time limit on it, but within a time limit, you're supposed to get it up into spick and span, pristine condition.
What I'd really like is a kind of story mode that goes with this.
I don't know, I almost feel like it kind of defeats the point of it.
So
it kind of has the story, but it's the story of the Space Marines you don't care about.
I know, but I'd love for like the Space Marine to have overlooked like a sack of alien eggs somewhere, and then it all erupts, and you then have to be the hero that cleans everything up with your cleaning implements. You've got lasers, for Christ's sake.
I just want the janitor.
That's supposed to be there for welding the bullet holes shut.
I just want the janitor.
I use it for cleaning.
It burns everything. You still have to mop it after you've lasered stuff.
It gets rid of the blood.
But it replaces it with soot. You still have to mop it.
I just like the theory of, you know what, I'm going to clean this with a laser.
Lasers can do everything.
I want the story of just like the janitor walking in and just looking around and just drops to his knees and weeps.
I imagine you would need a lot of therapy after cleaning this space station.
Possibly.
Steve was over there.
I know there's a bunch of people on the Strangeland server did do a group game, but that just sounded really frustrating because they're all talking about it was like one of them was trying to mop it up, but then the other guy would just pick up buckets full of bits of alien, just strew them everywhere. And I was like, why would you do that? I couldn't deal with that.
That was a really dick move.
But yeah, it seems to be like everybody's got their different approach to it. It's like, I like the cleaning bit of it. For whatever reason, I'm quite happy to just sit and mop for half an hour. But other people, it just seems like just want to make a mess. And it's like, I couldn't play with that person. I would find out where they lived and go and stab them.
And then clean up the blood afterwards.
And then spend a few hours mopping them up, yeah.
Putting the chunks in the incinerator.
Yes, find a convenient incinerator. Put them all in the bag first and then carry the bag to the incinerator.
The views of the Bottom Mash host are so weird.
Oh, I don't know. I think a lot of people would agree with me on that one.
We're all on board with this.
The views of everyone.
The views of everyone do not condone people who throw corpses around in viscera cleanup detail.
Go on, people. Let's do this properly.
But you've got like a Geiger counter and stuff as well. I think there's some really good context stuff that you could use in the stories.
Doesn't the Geiger counter just tell you how clean things are, not how radioactive things are?
That's not what the Geiger counter was invented for.
It's a space Geiger counter.
I thought it was so that you know not to go in certain areas because you'll get radiation poisoning.
I'll be honest, I didn't use it, so I'm not really sure what it does, but...
No, well, the game's not finished yet, so...
And that's why you grew an extra arm out of your chest, you wonder.
So, it let me carry another mop. Extra mopping power. Well, I'm not complaining.
You'd have to change your buckets more frequently, though.
Well, you got more hands to carry the buckets, that's fine.
True.
That's the other thing. Yeah, you got 2 hands. Why can't I carry 2 buckets? Carrying the buckets is a ball ache.
It is, yeah.
And yeah, you invariably end up traipsing through some bit that's got blood on the floor. Now you've got bloody footprints everywhere, and you've now got to mop that up again.
I find changing the water quite laborious. Actually, I don't like changing the water very frequently as well.
Yeah, I usually just try and get as many buckets as I can be bothered to do in one time. I don't just take 1 bucket at a time. It's like I'm going to take 5 buckets, and then when I'm done with them, I'll change them all.
That's where I'm falling down.
To be fair, it just makes the changing the buckets bit 5 times longer, but I have to do it 5 times less frequently. So
yeah.
I don't know. Swing some roundabouts, I suppose.
No, that makes more sense.
So yeah, I like that one. That's a bizarre thing, but for whatever reason, I quite like it. I know the game I was playing, the game crashed on me when I was like 99% clean.
Wow.
Oh, no.
I was like on the home stretch, and I was like, I've nearly got this spaceship clean. This is going to be good. This is going to be magnificent. This spaceship, look at it, it's so pristine. And I was like, viscera cleanup detail has stopped responding. I was like, no, don't do this.
In real life, that janitor missed a speck of blood and he was laid off.
I think that must be the story, yes. To be fair, I had missed the deadline at that point. It was like, you're expected to do this in 1 hour, 26 minutes. At this point, it's like, at this point, I was at like 1 hour, 40 minutes on this job, and I was like, yeah, okay, it's taken me a little while.
So much blood.
It's my first day.
Oh, okay, I don't know. Wait a minute.
So, yeah. Viscera cleanup detail. Go buy it, that's cool.
It is really cool.
That's one of those weird ones where it's early access, but I think everybody's generally on board with it's pretty good. It's the physics are screwy, but it's one of those games where it kind of works with it being kind of screwy physics, and it's just like, yeah, it's early access, but it's good early access. It's kind of you're actually getting your money's worth if you buy it. There's enough content in there that you could call as a finished product, and it's still being supported.
I want more out of it. It's been on early access for nearly a year now.
Well, it's got the Steam Workshop, but as far as I can make out, it seems like not many people are actually doing much with that. I guess there's probably quite a lot of work actually involved in developing a level for that. Not only do you have to build a level for a video game, you then actually have to make the mess. Normally with a video game, it's like, okay, here's the level, great, go play it. In this case, it's like, okay, here's the level, now we need it to make it look like somebody has played it, and now you've got to in order to make it playable.
I don't know, that sounds like a lot less work than actually cleaning it.
It probably is, actually, yeah. That's true. That is true. Yeah, that's probably the bulk of the things that I played. Anyone else got anything fun or interesting to bring to the table?
Have you actually done any more Spiral Knights?
A little bit, not a lot.
I noticed the Rose Regalia have come back.
Oh yeah, they added. The only thing in that caught my eye that really I was particularly interested in was like the aura.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm still never going to be able to get it, so nuts to it.
No, it's quite a pretty aura, actually, I think.
Actually, I will tell you what I spotted while I was, because I had to format my computer yesterday, so I had to reinstall Spiral Knights amongst all the other things.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I caught was actually there had been a patch that I totally managed to miss, and I don't know when this came out. Some point within the last, some point since last Wednesday it must have been. Otherwise, I don't know. But there was a patch, and I feel like it's overdue. Geordie posted January 21st. Right, when was 21st? That was Wednesday. Okay. So, ultra poison barriers and auto turret kits should now drop. You what? How long has that been due? We figured that had just, like, been forgotten about or never included or whatever. Mm-hmm. That was when they added stuff like, like when you can summon the rangers, you throw the flare down and the ranger comes and shoots things. And when they added all the other barriers and stuff, there was supposed to be a green barrier which dealt poison damage, and there's supposed to be an auto turret kit, which, like the ones in the jelly farm levels, where you pay 5 energy and it sets up a turret that shoots things through. Yeah, those were supposed to be objects you could pick up and just deploy at leisure.
All right.
And they have never been added to the game. This was like years ago at this point. And all of a sudden, there's this bug fix came out, completely out of nowhere. It's like, oh yeah, the things that we added to the game 2 years ago, you can do them now. It's like, what? Jeez. The overcharged Mixmaster, if you owned one of those things, will no longer shoot through walls, which, it sounded pretty overpowered to begin with. I didn't know it could do that. And the Spiral Soaker now has the correct effects. The reskin of the Blitz Needle.
Oh, right.
So, we're talking about 2 guns that almost nobody in the game actually has. But the other 2, the Poison Barriers and the Auto Turret Kits, particularly the Auto Turret Kits, fairly noteworthy, actually. Just for that to come out of the blue, just like, oh, hey guys, this is the thing now. It's like really weird. Especially as it's just supposed to have been in the game for a long time. And they never even really acknowledged it either. It was like, oh yeah, in the patch notes when those came out, it's like, oh, you can now get auto turret kits. And for years, everyone's like been like, has anyone ever actually seen an auto turret kit? I've never seen one. They're supposed to drop, right, aren't they? Those are items you can find in the game. And it's like, yeah, it was in the patch notes. Yeah, you're supposed to be able to find them. They must be really, really rare. I don't know anyone who's ever seen one. These are really rare things. It's like, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, yeah, we didn't put them in the game. Yeah, you can have them now. What are you doing? I don't know. So maybe that's an incentive to go back and play.
Really
go find new things in the Clockworks.
Really not enough. Too little, too late.
Oh, dear.
You sounded so sold.
I think there could be a video in that for me. I might have to go and do an auto turret kit demonstration video or something. Hey, free YouTube hits, yo.
It'll be the last content you get out of Spiral Knights.
Hey, I make a video every week. God damn you! It's never remotely related to Spiral Knights, but it's in Spiral Knights.
Oh, well done for trying.
I don't know why people still watch that for Spiral Knights, and it's like, I barely even mentioned the game in it. I don't know why people it's the same as all my other content, but you're just watching it for Spiral Knights. But I don't talk about Spiral Knights. It's just window dressing. I could be playing Viscera Cleanup Detail. It wouldn't make any difference to the content. I'm quite tempted to play Viscera Cleanup Detail. Well, to be fair, with Viscera Cleanup Detail, with the Strangelands crew, we had talked about potentially doing a kind of podcast kind of thing there anyway. It's like, why don't we every week just meet up, clean a spaceship together for an hour, and talk about video games? Like, that could work.
That sounds ace.
Yeah, I could deal with that. That sounds pretty cool. So, yeah. So, yes, plugging away with Spiral Knight. Still haven't, I've got the Wildfire now. I just haven't quite got the, yeah, I made the Wildfire last week, actually, so I probably would have talked about that last week if we hadn't had that. Which is exactly the same as the Polaris, but it sets things on fire instead of sets things on electric. That's a phrase that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, not much to report back about that one.
No.
It probably will replace the Polaris in my guns, because I quite like setting things on fire, but other than that...
I suppose it doesn't make much of a difference other than visually.
Visually and the effect, I suppose. But
yeah, only minor effect though.
Well, you do more damage over time, and you don't stun them, but you're pummeling them into a corner probably because you're using the Polaris in the first place, or Wildfire, whatever. The stun really isn't much of a big deal. So it's just more damage. I can deal with that.
Yeah.
And I still haven't got my Gilded Griffin because I can't be bothered to play that character.
Oh, it's such a nice gun as well.
I'm sure it is, but I don't have access to Vanaduke.
Yeah.
So I can't be bothered to level the Raptor. Without access to be able to do things in a reasonable time frame, I'm just like, no, nuts to this.
The update could have done with coming out, 2 years ago?
yeah, it really could have. I am actually quite tempted to make a video just on MMO design in general.
Yeah.
Partially as it relates to Spiral Knights, but also in many regards to Wildstar, because I've stopped playing that as well. And I don't know, I think both of them are kind of failing to hold my attention for exactly the same reason, which is to say, there's nothing for me to play there. With Wildstar, it's like I can't play it unless I'm really dedicated to getting stuck in with 5-man and 20-man groups doing dungeon and raid content with people. It's like, we've all got to be on voice chat and we've got to be super coordinated and we've got to work together as a really close-knit team. And I'm like, can I just play the game?
Mm-hmm.
I just want to have fun here. I don't want to have to frigging coordinate to do a mission. I was like, can I just have a fun mission? Can we just do something by myself? There's nothing for me in Wildstar there, so I haven't renewed my subscription on that one. I think there is a bunch of new content due soon, actually, so I may renew it when that comes out just to see what's in it, but for now I'm just kind of happy to say, you know what, no. And yeah, Spiral Knights, same way. I kind of just want to make something where I can just talk about MMOs and what to do right and what to do wrong. Because obviously I'm, the best qualified person in the world to talk about MMO design.
Obviously.
Having come from a game design background of many decades. I've been designing MMOs since 1963. Whoop whoop. So, yep. Actually, I suppose, to drag things out a little longer, what's it called? Sky Saga. Sky Saga is a kind of MMO-y kind of thing that I've started playing. I don't know how much content it has in it, but so far it's got my eye. They're in closed alpha at the moment, and it's only available to people in the UK. It's really weird, but there you go. So if you're in the UK, you can sign up to get onto a waiting list for that, and they got back pretty quick. It was only like 2 weeks before they were just like, hey, yeah, you can play the game now. And it's it's voxel based, which I think a lot of people are just going to be like, oh, it's a Minecraft clone. And in many respects, it's got elements of Minecraft, I won't deny that. Yes, you make a pickaxe, and yes, you dig things and punch trees and whatnot, but at the same time, it's been described as Minecraft meets Legend of Zelda. I think it's got elements of Cube World in there. It's got a lot more interesting stuff to actually go on adventures. It's got lots of prefab dungeons and stuff, so you go into a world and be like, oh, there's this mine, and there's some evil boss at the bottom of the mine, and you've got to go smite him and get his loot and stuff. I was like, oh, there's this giant castle, and there's the evil overlord in the castle, and you've got to go kill the overlord. And it's like, actually, this is really kind of cool. So you kind of you go into these sort of... It still procedurally generates the levels, I think. But then it kind of puts like a dungeon in the levels for you to play. So it kind of it's basically randomly generating adventures for you.
That's cool.
Which is cool, yeah. The combat reminds me a lot of Starbound, actually, of all things, but 3D. So it's just like 3D Starbound. It's like you kind of got the same sort of item slots like Minecraft, but each of them is kind of divided into two. So you've got your right hand and your left hand. You can carry a different thing in each hand. So you can like carry a sword in your right hand and a torch in your left hand, so you can fight things and then use the torch to light your way. Or if you're in a fairly well-lit area or don't mind fighting in the darkness, you can carry two swords, you can dual wield. Or you can carry a sword and a shield, or you sort of mix things up a bit. Which is kind of cool. I like that. Because, say Starbound kind of did the same thing. It was like, oh, you can carry a sword and a shield at the same time, or dual wield. And it was like, that's pretty nice. I'm pretty sure it was Starbound that did that. It wasn't Terraria that did that, was it?
No, Terraria doesn't do that.
No, I didn't think so. No. Yeah, it must be Starbound I'm thinking of then.
Or it may
So,
do.
yeah,
It's probably had loads of patches since I last played it. I really must get back into Terraria.
well, they don't patch it that often, but they did. I do recall them talking about a 1.3 update at some point recently, which was supposed to add something. I can't remember. I'm not sure if that's been added yet or not, if that's coming soon, but they don't seem to update it frequently. They just seem to do big updates once in a while.
They used to do loads of updates all the time.
I started playing it around the time they did the 1.2 update, and it was just kind of, it was like this one big thing. It was like, oh, this hasn't been updated in ages, but here's huge amounts of content. And then I haven't heard anything more since then. So I think this thing sounds like it's the same kind of deal. It's just sort of like, here's tons of new stuff. Have at it.
That sounds good.
So yeah, Sky Saga, it's Minecraft meets Cube World meets Starbound meets Legend of Zelda, all of which is kind of a lot of voxel-based stuff, but at the same time, I don't know, they've all kind of got their unique things going on, and I think ultimately it's cool. I think what grabbed me is the aesthetic. It looks goddamn gorgeous, and I would say it's kind of in the same sort of area as Spiral Knights. I think you'd probably quite like it, Will.
I'm registering for the alpha as we speak.
Fair enough. It's that same kind of visual style. If you like Spiral Knights, this game is gorgeous as well. It really is. The way they do the textures is really nice, because Minecraft, you kind of got, oh, it's a block. At the edge of the block stops, and then whatever's next to it is next to it. It's kind of just like they're all independent of each other. Whereas this one, they kind of merge them in a really nice way. Like, if you put a dirt block next to a stone block, the dirt kind of sort of smears onto the stone a bit, and so it kind of looks like it's a fairly seamless, smooth texture. It's a weird one. It's weird to describe, but visually, when you see it in the game, you're like, oh, that's nice. There's just attention to detail in a lot of stuff in the game. It's like, oh, that's really kind of cool. And then it's got dynamic lighting as well, which makes everything look awesome.
I will totally be checking this out.
Yeah. Looks good. It's like I say, it's kind of MMO. It's this online persistent world thing, so you do have to log in to play it each time, and it is online. But you don't ever have to actually deal with anyone if you don't want, which works for me. I like that kind of thing. So yeah, it's kind of this persistent world, and it's like you can add people on your friends list, and you can go on adventures with your friends, but at the same time, if you don't want to, you just open up a portal, hop into an adventure, and you go and do stuff on your own. It's entirely co-optional, I suppose. Co-op optional, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So yeah, that's right now they're kind of looking to do a server wipe on Tuesday, I believe. Kind of the way, it's the same issue Starbound had early on, I guess. It was like, okay, everybody, all the progress you've made now gets deleted. I was like, why are you doing this to us? So I've tried not to delve too deeply into it at this point. It's like, I'll hold off until Tuesday, and then I will build a magnificent castle to live in.
That's sensible.
Right now, I don't know what I've been doing in the game. I've just sort of been hoarding resources. And I'm like, why am I hoarding resources? I've got more gold than God, but what am I going to do with it? I'm not making anything with it because I know it's going to be deleted on Tuesday. So I don't know. But the weapon crafting actually. Okay, this is going to be an obscure reference. Tinker's Construct mod for Minecraft. Which neither of you are going to understand what I'm talking about.
No.
But that kind of really kind of made the crafting more interesting in Minecraft, where you could make all the different bits of the tools out of different stuff. So you're like, oh, you can have a wooden handle, or you can have an iron handle, or you can have a slime handle, or paper handle, or whatever. You could make it out of all sorts of ridiculous amounts of things. All the different bits of the tools could be crafted out of all whatever materials you could find. You got lots of different options. And this is very, very similar, right down to damn near everything. The furniture in your house, the torches in your hand, for God's sake, everything can be made out of different stuff. And it's like each different tree provides a different type of wood, which is a different colour. So it's like, now when you're making your pickaxe, well, the handle is going to be made out of a type of wood. Which type of wood would you like to use? And the handle of the pickaxe is going to be coloured according to the type of wood. And then the pickaxe materials, you can use iron or gold are the two materials I've seen so far. Or indeed, I think you get a stone one early on, but yeah. And then, like, chests, it's like, oh, chests are made out of 4 different types of metals and woods as the base, and then you're, like, combining different bits, so it's like, oh, I want the front of my chest that I'm making to be made out of gold, but I want the straps that are holding it together to be made out of iron, and you can customize everything to a really ridiculously meticulous detail, just by mixing and matching different types of parts, but with different materials. It's kind of cool.
Mm.
I like it. So I mean, the stuff like making the sword. It's like, oh, well, you need a wooden handle, but then you also need like a gem on the end of it. When you could get different colored gems to put on the handle, and then different types of different color. You can I guess stain the leather, and you can have different colored leather wraps on the handle, and then the blades are made out of different colors. So you got a weight behind the blade that actually actually gives it some heft, so it swings. You can make that out of iron, but then you can make the blade itself, the bit that actually cuts, out of gold. So you got sort of two material blade, and it's like, this is really kind of cool. You can make some really nice stuff out of it.
I'll be interested to see how that works.
So I know Cube World did have some item customization stuff going on, but it was never very good. It was like, oh, you can expend quite a lot of resources to add one single voxel to your sword or whatever, and you just added one like nodule on the side of it, and it's like, great, I feel so much more cooler, and like this sword is so much more powerful. Whereas this one is like, oh, wow, I can have a gold and iron blade in a special sort of hybrid metal, and it looks different to my previous dagger, even though it's very, very similar. It just looks different, and it's like, oh, I can mix and match. I can carry two different types of daggers. It's like, it's nice. So yes, I will probably be checking that one out on my channel in the near future, and trying to drag as many other people into joining me on stuff as possible, because I think there's a lot of promise in that one. So that's probably. I think I've run out of steam now. Unless you guys got any other games, I think that's probably the end of part 1.
No.
I don't have anything else to offer, I'm afraid.
Alrighty, well, that'll probably do us for gaming experiences for the week. So we're going to take a quick break and step away for a second, and when we come back after the break, we'll be bringing you latest gaming news and releases for the upcoming week.
The Buttermash Podcast will be back after these messages from our sponsors. Buttermash Podcast is back.
Welcome back to the Buttermash Podcast. Got some gaming news for you.
And now, gaming news and gossip. Gossip.
No gossip. Maybe gossip. I don't know. Do we have gossip?
Oh, it's gossip.
I think we can twist this one into gossip. Right, so first off is on the... I don't know, is this news kind of thing? Exploding Kittens is news of some sort.
It's totally news.
Okay.
It's massive.
It is massive.
Exploding is always news.
Yes, a massive exploding kitten. It's slightly different to one that... It's the one that eats sushi. That one didn't explode, it stopped explosions. That was a better kitten.
This one's just evil and misanthropic.
I think these are just sort of playful kittens. I don't think they're supposed to be evil, are they, particularly?
It looks evil.
I think it's just more... Okay, so this is the Kickstarter by the guy who writes the Oatmeal webcomic, as well as a couple of other guys that nobody's ever heard of. Let's be honest. I mean, I realise they're noteworthy for doing something, but the reason... Nearly 100,000 people have backed this to the tune of nearly $4 million is the guy who writes the Oatmeal. Is the reason that's done that. So this is
We're dismissing their contribution in any way, shape, or form.
This is one of the biggest Kickstarters in a long damn time, because honestly, actually, things don't seem to blow up quite like they just used to, and all of a sudden, yeah, this is on the scene. It's not really video gaming, but it's gaming of a certain sort, so it's gaming we're interested in, so I think it's worth talking about. But worth bearing in mind that this is 100,000 backers to the tune of $4 million. There are 25 days to go. This has only been live for 5 days.
Yeah, this project got funded within 8 minutes.
Yes. Their goal was $10,000.
They're gonna rent a gaming company in San Francisco.
Yes, probably. So, what do we make of this? Will, you said you backed it.
I've already backed this at the $50 tier.
Really? What did you get for that one?
Sorry, $35 tier, but you have to pay for shipping.
Oh, right.
I've got the deck and the expansion, the NSFW deck.
Not
which
safe
is
for
like,
work, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is cards too horrible and incredible to include in the kid-friendly edition. Ages 30+. Will, are you age 30+?
I am not age 30+.
Don't think you're allowed it.
I'm calling the NSPCA.
So, yeah, this is a game about... I don't know... I I'm not seeing the appeal in this. This is kind of why I wanted to bring it up. So why don't you tell me what you see in it? Because I don't get this. I don't get this at all.
I think this could just be a fantastic game to play while drunk. Is the basis for me buying this.
It doesn't sound compelling to me. It's Russian roulette is what it is, mostly.
Well, you're going to have to bring this out on a night out now.
I will do, absolutely.
It's basically you have a deck of cards and you draw cards until someone draws an exploding kitten and loses. It's a little bit more complex than that, but mostly it's just Russian roulette.
It's a lot more humorous than that. It's got weaponized back hair and a hairy boob dragon.
I will be honest, I don't entirely care for the oatmeal stuff anyway. I know a lot of people, he's probably one of the most, if not the most successful webcomics on the internet. I don't know who, probably Penny Arcade is probably actually top, I would suspect, because they're ridiculous, but it's up there. This guy, I think my main gripe with it is that the guy who makes the oatmeal, Matthew Inman, he's already a multi-millionaire off the back of the webcomic. Why would a man like that need to need to do crowdfunding over a matter of $10,000? That guy could buy hundreds of startups and sell them without blinking an eye. He could easily just say, "Oh yeah, here's 10,000, make a game," and just start selling it. It doesn't. It's one of those things that it's just like, you don't need to crowdfund this. Why would you do that? It's just, I don't know. That kind of rubs me up the wrong way when it's like multi-millionaires are just like, yes, we really need your help. It's like if EA started doing, like, oh, we need to crowdfund the next Call of Duty. It's like, no, you don't. I don't know. That one gets me a little bit.
You're upset.
I am upset that people who are richer than God feel the need to go begging for money on the internet. Yes.
Well, he got it.
Yes, but yes, he's got it. Especially over something that I don't know. It's kind of got. I don't care for his art style. His art style's just lol random. His humor is mostly lol random.
Yeah, I totally didn't like this when I first saw the oatmeal, but it grew on me quite a lot.
Mm.
It is a really ugly style, but it kind of becomes endearing in a way.
I won't deny I've read some movie stuff that I've been like, hey, that's pretty cool, but then at the same time, the majority of his stuff just seems to be just dross. I don't enjoy like 90% of the content he makes. It's like, I have no idea how or why he's so successful. I don't get the oatmeal. But I will say, I think a lot of people probably say the same about Saturday morning breakfast cereal, and I'm a big fan of Saturday morning breakfast cereal.
I like that.
Yeah. SMBC is kind of... That's one of those ones where I saw quite a lot of his comics and I was like, where's the appeal in this? I don't quite get this, but I'm subscribed to the comics subreddits, and his stuff got posted there. I don't think it does so much anymore, but it used to get posted like on a damn near daily basis, and it just kept popping up his stuff. I just kept seeing it again and again and again. I was like, eventually that one did grow on me. I was like, oh yeah, I quite like SMBC now, so I'm actually quite a big fan of his stuff. But so maybe it's the same kind of deal. I don't know.
I think it is. In either case, like the estimated delivery on this is July of this year. So I will bring a deck. I will bring both decks to whatever button mash we do around that time of year, and we'll have a game.
All right. Okay. Fair enough.
I will make you play this game.
I'm quite sure you will.
We will tie you to the chair, and you will learn to love kittens.
Yes. I'll say, if you to go back to the first point, I was like, I don't think, if you look at it, it's like, it's not necessarily, I don't think the kittens are in any way malicious. It's just, if you read about how he designed it as well, that's kind of never the idea. It's not like, and it's not, no one wanted to intentionally blow up kittens or make kittens the bad guy. It's just kittens doing kitteny things. It's just gnawing on things they shouldn't, or walking on keyboards they shouldn't and inadvertently launching a nuke or something, and just accidentally hitting the launch button for the nuke, or just sort of playfully chewing on a grenade or what have you.
This is how World War III starts.
Basically, yes. I think that is basically the premise, yes. It's just kittens chewing on or playing on things they're not supposed to, and ultimately it causes an explosion.
Oh no, not Finland.
Mm-hmm. And then you can diffuse it with a laser pointer, or kitten therapy, or a catnip sandwich.
Catnip sandwiches.
Or then you can do strange things with strange references, which I presume are to references to oatmeal comics I haven't read.
Not all of them. I think they're having to include stuff from the comics with the expansion just because it's a stretch goal and like they need extra content for the extra cards.
Right. Okay.
But when you've got 4 million, you can do these things.
I'm quite sure. The guy already had 4 million. He bought the frickin' Tesla Museum to make it into the Tesla Museum. The guy can afford a bloody deck of cards. That's one of my gripes with Kickstarter. Just people abusing it, and this feels like abuse to me. Someone who doesn't need the money begging for money. Go fund yourself.
Go
That
find
sounded
yourself.
really offensive.
Have you guys not seen South Park yet?
I haven't
I'm
watched
afraid
the
not,
new
no.
ones, no.
Yeah, go watch the latest series of South Park. That's what they called their Kickstarter company in the first episode. They called it Go Fund Yourself.
Fantastic.
So, also lighter side of the news, because why the hell not? Pikachu's going to be in the Pokemon fighting game.
Celebrate.
I was waiting for Tumbleweed there, actually, but okay.
Yeah.
Just the
Come
silence
on.
was like, oh, okay. Nobody cares?
Pikachu.
Yeah, we brought this up back in, I don't know, probably like October or whenever. Pokken, the Pokemon Tekken hybrid thing, apparently Pikachu is going to be in it. I don't know how that works. That just doesn't seem like he would hold his own. I don't, but there you go.
Pikachu just gets beat to death by Macho.
Hmm.
Like Champ or whatever it was.
So yeah, when you're going up against... When you're in a fighting game against Pokemon that are known for just, beating the snot out of things, and you've then got a small rodent thing. It's like...
Maybe Pikachu's the Rocky of the game, where he implausibly wins.
Maybe.
Maybe it has different weight classes, like in actual wrestling.
Yeah, I don't think Tekken was ever particularly wrestling to any great extent, though, was it?
It was unarmed combat.
Will Hitmonchan be Russian?
You wanting him to be...
I want him to be Ivan Drago.
You want him to be Ivan Drago, right.
Pikachu could be Rocky, it'll be like, I will crush you.
I would pay to see that. Someone just wants to make a... Yeah, that could be it. Make an episode of the Pokemon anime where Pikachu has to go fight Ivan Hitmonchan.
Just remake Rocky 4.
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
But
with
in the Pokemon anime, yes. That's what we're asking for. We're not asking for much.
Charizard can be Apollo Creed.
Yeah. Sounds like fun. I could go for that. That's barely news. Why are we talking about that one?
We're padding things out, I think.
Microsoft have made a lot of interesting announcements this week, so let's talk about those.
Ooh.
So, first is DirectX 12, which is obviously the future of gaming. It's the next version of DirectX, which is supposed to be, from what I've heard about it, it's supposed to be ridiculously good improvements on a lot of stuff, whereas current things that use DirectX 9, 10, 11, what have you, just generally don't tend to use resources on your computer terribly well. Like multi-threading on processors, like, oh, you've got a quad-core processor, well, we're only going to use one core of those 4 anyway, the other 3, you don't really need them. So you end up with even really huge games just don't use multi-threading well. DirectX 12 is supposed to actually allow stuff to use all your system's resources a lot better. So I think you should see, I think that'd be nice to see potentially significant performance improvements on quite a lot of stuff in the future when that's implemented. But there's a catch.
This is the catch.
You can only have DirectX 12 if you've got Windows 10. So you've got to upgrade.
And I don't want to upgrade. I like living in the past.
Yeah, me too. I'm quite liking Windows 7. I've not upgraded to 8 because I've heard nothing good about 8. I want to stick with 7. It's nice. Windows 8 looks like a tablet computer. Windows 7 feels like I'm in... I don't know, it's like a holographic future computer. You've got like shards of glass that you're moving around and each of them has things on. I don't know. Either way, it feels like a computer, whereas Windows 8 doesn't. It feels like a tablet. And I didn't spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds just to get a freaking tablet. Thank you. So, yeah, I have no idea about Windows 10. I mean... I guess Windows kind of has this weird thing where they kind of make a good one and then they make a bad one and then they make a good one and they make a bad one. So I guess they're due a good one.
Yeah, but they skip 9, so...
only because of terrible software developers that are really lazy. Not because they're like, oh, this one's going to be good, we'd better skip it. I don't think that was the thought there.
It works too well.
It's if we call it Windows 9, it's going to break everything, is why they did that. So, yeah. Windows XP was good. Windows Vista was not as good. Windows 7 was alright. Windows 8 is not so great. Windows 10? Cautious optimism?
We're gonna find out.
We are going to find out, yes. And I suppose if you want to use DirectX 12, you've got to find out.
Well, my laptop uses Windows, so I'm suspecting I'll probably be susceptible to this upgrade, so...
Well, I believe they've offered anybody who's running Windows 7 or 8 is eligible for a free upgrade to 10 as well, so if you get that, you can do that. I know my laptop when I bought it was Vista and it came with a free upgrade to 7, and it's still running that 7, so I guess I get a free upgrade to 10 as well, so that's done quite nicely out of that one. Interesting little deal I got going on there, but hey.
Mm-hmm.
I shall upgrade and tell you how it goes.
Well, I don't know, I'm not sure when it's actually out. Have they actually announced any kind of ETA on Windows 10 on that one?
Not that I'm aware of.
No, they just keep talking about what it's going to have. I've not heard of any time frame on it. At some point in the future.
I'm suspecting before the end of this year.
Maybe, potentially. Other things with Windows 10 is they're wanting to do more cross-format stuff, I guess, because that's always worked well in the past. Basically, they want your Xbox to be able to play with your PC.
Ah, yeah, I remember the announcement on that.
Interesting that one of the comparisons they made was to Shadowrun, which I quite liked, but I will definitely say worked much, much better on PC than on console, because, duh.
Yeah.
It's a first-person shooter. You've got the precision of a mouse on PC, you're going up against the precision of an analog stick on consoles. It just really wasn't a fair fight. PC, you could take the statistics. They did take the statistics. PC trounced the 360 every time. There was just no real competition there. Which is like it was a good game. I quite liked that game. It was kind of a fantasy-ish version of Counter-Strike, actually, I would have said. It was like Counter-Strike, but you could cast healing spells on people and stuff, which was really cool. But yeah, it never really took off, and the crossplay thing just kind of fizzled because it just wasn't that good. So apparently they're trying to go for that again. I think that, like I said, they referenced Shadowrun. It was like, yeah, it was all right. It wasn't great. It didn't really change anything. It wasn't, the innovation we'd hoped for. But what they're saying is for PvE type stuff, like Gears of War's Horde mode or something like that, you sort of fight off waves and waves of enemies. That could work okay. You got your PC and you got your console, you're really not going to be whinging that your partners are not aiming at the enemies well enough if you're just playing a bit of co-op stuff. Who really cares? So, yeah, that could work. The other one is, in regards to that, is streaming content from your console to your PC. Which I don't know why you would do that.
That does sound redundant.
It does. Broadly speaking, anybody who's playing on PC probably has a pretty decent machine, and you're going to be streaming your content from a less powerful machine over a network, so it's probably not going to be a particularly optimal experience there. And also, you're going to end up with a crappier experience than you would have if you just played the game on the PC in the first instance. You kind of got the latency of then talking over a network to something, you've got the quality of the video loss as it comes across the network, and you're running on a lower power machine. Why would you do that? That one, no, I can't figure that one out. But that'll be a thing. I suppose if you've got an old PC, it's kind of like, I suppose it's aiming at the similar market to, what's it called? OnLive, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, OnLive, where they're like, oh, if you don't have a good PC, well, we've got a good PC that can run it for you. Just subscribe to our service and our supercomputers will play the game for you. I suppose it's like, if your PC is less powerful than your Xbox One, then, yeah, it might be worth your while taking a quick look at it. I guess. I'm not going to do that. But it might work for some people. those people, I would still recommend buying a better graphics card instead of an Xbox One, but hey.
Oh, you're so harsh on that poor Xbox One.
I am. And for good reason. PC Gaming Master Ratio. There was one more thing. What was the other one? Remind me. Come on, quick.
I don't know.
The death of Internet Explorer.
Oh, I haven't seen much to verify this. Someone else mentioned this earlier in the week, which was apparently they're potentially looking at bringing some of the Xbox exclusives to PC, like the Master Chief Collection.
Oh.
Yeah, I could actually very much go for that. I mean, I kind of turned my nose up at the Master Chief Collection on the console, because it's like, well, you're buying all the stuff you've already got, and I don't really want to do that, so who cares, but Halo on PC has been overdue for a very, very, very long time. And a sort of rumour that, hey, actually, you might actually get Halo 3 and 4 on PC. Oh, hello, yes, I'm listening. I'll have a stab at that, you know. So yeah, I could look forward to that one, if that's going to be a thing. But I don't know, like I say, I've not really seen much to corroborate that one. This was just, I think it was Total Biscuit mentioned that earlier in the week. I was like, what? I've not heard anyone else mention that. So he may have been talking out of his arse, or I may have misinterpreted what he said. Those are both options.
I know what my money's on.
Probably the latter, yes. So those are the bulk of the news, all the new Windowsy things and some Pikachu news.
She's always good to hear.
Because Pikachu news is important. Should we do some gaming releases?
Why the hell not?
Alright.
And now, gaming releases for the week!
Starting on our multi-format list, not a hell heck of a lot there. We got Dying Light is out on PC, PS4, Xbone, and Linux? Is this out on Linux? Good lord. Which is
very surprised.
Most of these things aren't out on Linux, so yeah, I was a little bit surprised. Dying Light is a first-person open-world game set in a zombie apocalypse. Player character is able to free run to get around the environment quickly. Will, you like zombies? Tell me more about this one.
I know nothing about this one, actually. It's been thrust in my face a lot in terms of advertising, and I've just like shunted it out of the way.
Oh, right. I've heard people mention it, and I've really just not really clocked it. I think if it's got the word dead in, it's just like, oh, zombies, just tune out.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of it. Something about zombies. I don't know. I've heard a lot of people talking about it lately, so I presume it's a fairly big title. Which means I probably should know what the hell I'm talking about, but I don't, so, yeah.
I have no money to buy games like this, so I'm kind of just dismissing it for now.
Fair enough. Zombies and parkour. Have zombies and parkour. Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth 2 Sisters Generation.
Great name.
Which is anime bullshit. Mostly. This is, I've mentioned Hyperdimension Neptunia before, which is sort of an anime series which anthropomorphizes which console generation? I guess it was the Dreamcast console generation, I think it was, because it had the Xbox, PlayStation, and, yeah, Dreamcast, I think it was. I don't know. Either way, it's kind of, it kind of taken off in a big way, and now they make games about it, and this is, I guess, a JRPG-ish kind of thing. With lots of scantily clad anime ladies.
Yep.
Who are meant to represent games consoles.
Yep.
Have at it. Grim Fandango Remastered. This one will be on a lot of people's radars, I suppose. Which is, who's remastering this? It's Double Fine, isn't it, that's doing this, I believe. Just don't all speak at once, jeez.
I heard something to that
yes.
effect.
It's Double Fine. Double Fine are remastering Grim Fandango, the original LucasArts adventure game. This is not one I've ever actually played, because I think by the time it ever came onto my radar, it was kind of in the era where it no longer worked on anybody's PCs. So I think that's the main reason why they've remade it, so that it actually works on people's PCs again. and it's been done up. It's got fancy graphics. It's got dynamic lighting. I know Fixer on the Strangeland server is super hyped to play it, and I believe he emailed them asking about a bunch of other LucasArts franchises, and the official response he got from Double Fine was, "Hee, have fun."
Slightly sinister laugh.
Helpful. Well, they're in the format of an email. It's very hard to tell exactly what was implied. But yes. So that's Grim Fandango. A lot of people probably be wanting to take a look at that. I'm tempted myself, but I've got a lot of other shit to play at the minute, to be honest.
I think I will actually pick this one up.
It'll be on my radar, but I don't know if I'll be looking at it like now. It's probably the sort of thing I will pick up. I will probably pick it up in a Steam sale and then continue to never play it, to be honest. Oddworld, Stranger's Wrath. Is this... What are we looking at here? I'm not familiar with... I'm not up on my Oddworld, so...
I think
this isn't a remake of anything again, is it?
I played the original one on PS1, but...
As a spin-off of the Oddworld series, Oddworld Stranger's Wrath attaches an unrelated shooter to the beloved franchise as players undertake the role of a mysterious bounty hunter known as Stranger, who seeks to make a living in Oddworld's rugged west.
Wow, that actually doesn't sound too bad.
What a strange thing. This is made by Just Add Water, who are just down the road from us, so local stuffs.
Oh,
so that's cool. Yeah, they're based in Otley, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So yeah, local business, support local business, go buy that. I realise that most of our audience, this will not be local business, but support our local business. Yeah, I never really got into the Oddworld stuff, to be honest. I know we had a demo for one of the things on the PlayStation, but that was about much I ever got out of that for me.
Yeah, I played the original game, but I never stayed with it, unfortunately.
Alrighty. We've got Nihilumbra.
I like the artwork.
Well, I haven't actually really checked this one out, so I don't know what we're looking at. We've got apparently some stuff that involves... It looks like a 2D platformer with a lot of silhouette stuff going on. So maybe a little bit of Limbo, I guess. God damn it,
It's too
Limbo.
colourful. It's too colourful for Limbo.
It's a lot more colourful than Limbo, but you can see where it's sort of inspirations, origins sort of come from. I'm not saying every game that uses silhouettes is Limbo, but
it is.
A lot of them are.
But inspired by, I would say, potentially. So yeah, 2D silhouette-y platformery thing. Teslagrad. Is that not already out? That's the thing that's been out for a while. I guess it's out on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3. It's already been out for a while on a bunch of other stuff. PC, Wii U, and 5 more platforms apparently. I think that's probably this is probably the only platform they haven't released it on then. A 2D Metroidvania-style puzzle platformer in a fictional steampunk old-world Eastern European kingdom called Electropia.
Cool.
Like I say, it's been on every format. I've definitely heard the name before, but I would be hard-pressed to tell you what it was. I've not really clocked it before, to be honest. Metroid Prime Trilogy on the Wii U. Interesting. If I had a Wii U, I would definitely be interested. So, all 3 Metroid Prime titles in one package. Metroid Prime, Prime 2 Echoes... hang on. Metroid Prime and Metroid Prime 2 Echoes are reworked to include 480p widescreen. Ooh, pushing the boat out there, that 480p.
Everyone was wanted it.
Let's say, if you're going to remaster something and re-release it for the next-gen console, for God's sake, do it up to at least 720, for God's sake. Nintendo, you're embarrassing yourself. I'd prefer it if it was 1080, but for God's sake, 480 is not acceptable.
I really would like to play through all the Metroid games.
I will say
investing in a Wii for this.
Yeah, I will say Metroid Prime 1 and 2 are both excellent games. Metroid Prime 3, I got like 2/3 of the way through, and then it had a lot of really kind of tedious backtracky stuff. It was like, oh, you need a lot of batteries to open this next door. Oh, have you been picking up all those batteries that have been hidden around on your adventures where you've been going? Oh, some of them you might need some of your new powers. I know it's Metroid stuff, so it involves backtracking, but it's just a lot of it is just like, oh, have you got all 10 batteries yet? Go get more batteries. You need more batteries to get through this door. And it's like, oh, for God's sake, go away. Eventually, I just gave up. I was like, no, I can't be bothered with these goddamn batteries. Nuts to it. And I did play through the DS one several times, but honestly, I don't think the DS one was particularly terribly impressive either, compared to the first two. But hey ho, yeah, if it's got the first two, go play the first two. The first two are excellent ones. Go do that. In 480p. If they'd done a HD remake proper, if they'd like, oh yeah, this is properly done up for next gen and it's 1080p and everything, it's like, oh, that would sell like hotcakes. I would be all over that shit. I probably still wouldn't actually buy a Wii U for it, but I'd be contemplating it. Yeah, that's one that does need a remake. Life is Strange, Episode 1. This is one a lot of people have been talking about. I'm intrigued by. Which is a episodic sci-fi video game developed by Don't Nod Entertainment, published by Square Enix. These are the guys that made Remember Me, which was not well acclaimed.
Oh dear.
But as far as I'm aware, most of the problems with Remember Me is mostly sort of game mechanics, and I think a lot of the limitations put on them were as a result of the publisher. And I think if you look into it, there's kind of quite a lot of the development for Life is Strange is they spent quite a while hunting around, trying different publishers to try and find a publisher that would let them make the game the way they wanted to make it. So they've gone with Square Enix, because Square Enix was actually willing to say, hey, you make the game the way you want, which I think is fairly important. I mean, the protagonist is a woman, and there's this weird thingy with amongst games publishers where like, oh, games where the protagonist is a woman don't sell very well. We can't do that. Where's your grizzled male protagonist that looks the same as every other game? We need that. People won't buy it if it's not that. And Square Enix were happy to say, yeah, you know what, yeah, you make it the way you want. You want a woman protagonist? Yes, we will allow you to do that. But apparently they went to people like EA, and EA were also like, no. You change it to a male protagonist, we'll talk business, but until you do that, no, we won't publish your game. Which is just like, God damn it, guys, what year is this?
Yeah.
Are we really still doing this? For God's sake. So I am intrigued by that one. I think it's supposed to be fairly interesting narrative kind of thing, and I like that they've gone to the efforts that they have done just to actually achieve their artistic vision, as it were. So that's cool. Unmechanical. Really selling you with the tagline, Unmechanical is a puzzle game that started out as a student project.
I've already got this on Steam.
Oh, you actually?
I've played through it, yeah. It kills a couple hours. There's some nice aesthetics, but it's nothing major. Nothing to write home about.
Fair enough, there's your review right there.
Yeah.
There's your box quote.
I don't think they'll use it somehow.
No, maybe not. Well, to be fair, on Steam, if you're a curator, and in fact Will has access to the Steam group, so he could be a curator, he could put his box quote on their Steam page if he wanted.
Nothing to write home about. Yeah.
Yeah. You're allowed to do that. You can put whatever the hell you want in your recommendation. It'll just say Button Mash recommends this, nothing to write home about. Because there's a lot of people doing really silly reviews. I don't know if you've picked up on the sort of curator system particularly.
A little bit.
I've been using it, but that's because I do actual critique. But at the same time, there's a lot of people are just doing silly stuff. There's like one of the most popular friggin' curators on Steam, for God's sake, is Hodor Review.
Oh dear.
Can you guess what the reviews say?
Hodor.
Yeah. It just goes around posting Hodor on different games. It'll just say, Hodor Review recommends this game. Box quote below, Hodor.
Sorry, I lost you there. Could you repeat that?
I'm talking about Hodor Review.
Ah, okay.
You must be familiar with the great Hodor Review. He reviews all the games as Hodor. Hodor.
Oh, Hodor.
Speaking of Steam, let's do some Steam releases.
I know. The Steam releases.
Excellent.
Thank you.
It's a marked improvement. It really is.
I'm trying, damn it, I'm trying.
Okay, so we got Gravity Ghost, which we already spoke about very briefly. Gravity Ghost is out tomorrow. If you want, well, I suppose by the time the video goes out, it'll be out yesterday, and there is a review already out on the Button Mash YouTube channel, which you can go check out. Shameless plug.
Yeah.
Shameless.
Tomorrow, maybe, hopefully, also Raven's Cry.
This isn't coming out. You already know it's not coming out.
It's totally coming out. They've made it to the 25th of January. It's got to come out now. This game will unlock in approximately 1 day and 4 hours.
Approximately. The key word is approximately.
It may be in 2 months, but somewhere between tomorrow and 2 months.
We will be in our cold graves before this game comes out.
No. It will release, and I will buy it, and I will be disappointed by it.
It's the dream.
I don't know. Either it's been delayed because they really wanted to put some polish on it, or it's been delayed because it's really fucking awful. It could go either way. The fact is, they could have done the same with Karma Flow. Like, if the Karma Flow had been like, oh, hang on, just give us a couple of weeks. Oh, just a couple more weeks. Hang on, let's just get this right. They could be doing that. They could be like, hang on, if we can just have 2 more weeks, this game will be fucking top notch. And it's like, oh, hang on, just a little bit longer. Come on, 2 more weeks. That's all we need. In my heart, I know that's what they're doing. They're just putting the real polish on it, so it's really spectacular. You don't believe me?
You keep telling yourself that.
We got Dying Light. We already did Dying Light. Got 868 Hack. I will say I like their trailer just because it completely rips off the "you wouldn't steal a car" trailer thing.
You wouldn't print a handbag.
You wouldn't, yeah.
You wouldn't print a handbag?
And then it shows them actually were kind of doing that. So yeah, it's a game. It's some weird, really simple looking game about some manner of hacking, I guess. I think the trailer might potentially be the best bit it's got going for it, but I don't know. Hard to say about the game. The game looks really simple. The game doesn't look a lot more complex, if we're completely honest, than the hacking that the Corgi did in Corgi Simulator.
So that Corgi, he was government trained.
Yeah, he was a data Corgi. So yeah, you got a big grid of various icons, and I don't know, you must do something with that grid of icons, and you hack things. Grim Fandango's... Oh, sorry, do you have something else?
I was going to say, if the security on your laptop is a mini game, I think you really need to look at your security more than anything else.
I think
Depends how tough the minigame is.
I think it's the Archer thing of the password's guessed.
Right. I was thinking the TF2 code is 1111 to get in. Grim Fandango Remastered, that is out on Steam. If you want that on Steam, you can pick that up. And we have Ghost Pirates of Vuju Island.
I've always wanted to go to Vuju Island.
Can I just say, I may be wrong, but from what I can make of the screenshots and trailer and whatnot of this, I think this is just a Monkey Island ripoff.
It really is, isn't it?
I think you might be right there.
It's a point-and-click adventure about ghost pirates, and the name of the island is in the game. How is this not The Secret of Monkey Island? Ghost Pirates of Vuju Island, The Secret of Monkey Island, it's the same thing!
Oh, it's been a while since Monkey Island. I guess now's the time to rip it off.
I guess, but it's still awesome, and it's not that long since they remastered it, and the remastered version's awesome. Also, they did Tales of Monkey Island, which I have not yet played. But it looks quite a lot like this.
Yeah, it does, actually.
This is called Vuju Island, not Monkey Island. That's the difference.
Oh, I see. It's a different island.
Yep.
There are no monkeys on this one.
Ignore the fact that it's the same characters and
Yeah.
plot.
It genuinely looks like the Telltale Games 3D character models that they did on those kind of games. Excellent. Destructomundo.
Which is a very 90s name.
Yeah, actually. I'm not sure what this is. A very heavily stylized looking thing. Something about a chain reactions and massive explosions, which does sound promising. I'm seeing a lot of screenshots that just mostly seem to involve circles, though, so I'm not really sure what we're doing. I guess it's kind of a puzzle kind of thing, I think, where you're trying to deliberately set up a nuclear warhead in the most explosive way possible? I think?
That's the gist that I got from it.
Yeah. I don't know. And then in the description it says, "Why would you do such a horrible thing? For shiny gold medals, of course."
That's why everybody does anything.
Yes. We also have Hyperdimension Neptunia, although this says Rebirth 1, the one we picked up on Giant Bomb said Rebirth 2, so maybe there are 2 Hyperdimension Neptunias out this week. In case you want a double dose of anime bullshit.
Oh dear.
We have To Be or Not To Be.
That is the question.
That's not part of the title.
It had to be done.
I hadn't realised that this was a thing. But this is totally a thing, and I'm amazed that this is a thing. This is a book that I own and I have on my bedside table. I have To Be or Not To Be on my bedside table. This is a choose-your-own adventure book by Ryan North, who is the guy who writes Dinosaur Comics, the webcomic. And it's, yeah, choose-your-own adventure version of Hamlet.
Which does sound fun.
It's he's by a really funny writer, so yeah, it's amazing. It's fantastic. And apparently they made it into a game. I backed it on Kickstarter and got it through Kickstarter. It'd be really nice if I could get this through I don't know, like, hey, free thing for all our Kickstarter backers or something, I don't know. I don't know how I wasn't aware that this was a thing, because I follow both Ryan North and Tin Man Games on Twitter. You'd have thought I'd have heard of this by now. And like all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, in a couple of days, this game that's the book that you own by the author that you really like and made by the developer you also follow on Twitter is out on Steam. I'm like, what? How did this come to pass? I don't know. I'm intrigued. I would like to check it out. I will say the book is amazing, and quite frankly, yes, you should probably be checking it out just based on what I know of the book. It came with a bookmark that's got 4 prongs so you can mark different pages so you can cheat.
It took you well into consideration there, didn't it?
Yeah, it was like, I need to mark this page in case I need to go back to it because I get a bad ending.
Oh, it saw you coming a mile off.
I hope the game comes with the same bookmark. That will be well taken into consideration then, yes. We have Down to 1. Is this... hang on. Oh no, this is early access. Not that. Don't need to talk about that. Talk about it when it releases. When it releases, we'll gladly waffle about it for a bit. Tulpa is something else about silhouettes. It's Silhouette Week, apparently.
Silhouettes.
2D puzzle platformer, silhouettes. Very colourful, but with lots of silhouettes. Reminding me visually, actually, kind of a lot of Amphora, although maybe a bit cleaner than Amphora. I don't know.
Yeah, I see that.
I don't know, puzzle platformers, probably not my thing. If you're into that sort of thing, probably your thing. Just a thought. Also, I recognise that clock graphic. I used that clock graphic in a video I did once to mark a scoreboard, and I'm pretty sure that's free on Wikimedia. That's probably where they've got that from.
Oh dear. That probably says a lot about the game, doesn't it?
Well, it's indie games. You get resources from where you can. I imagine Wikimedia is probably pretty good for a lot of resources. We have The Lady. I don't think I'm interested in this.
No, me neither.
A 2D surreal puzzle horror featuring hand-drawn character art, stop-motion animation, and an abrasive noisecore soundtrack. I can't think of anything worse. That just sounds horrible. I don't want that. I guess some people are into that kind of noise, quote-unquote, music kind of thing, but no. That's not my scene, I'm afraid, but maybe it's yours. Maybe you could go check that out if you want. Maybe you're a strange person if you do. I've put this on the list, but actually doesn't have a release date. There's Titan Souls here, sort of nested in the middle of all the January stuff, which is something I am kind of interested in, because it's kind of Devolver Digital's kind of top-down pixel art take on Shadow of the Colossus, which looks really nice and sounds really kind of cool. I would be really keen to take a look at that. I will say. So yeah, that's the thing. Got Nightmares from the Deep, Davy Jones. There's a lot of pirates this week. It's a good week for pirates. Yeah, it's not even like a pirate day. Yeah, this is a hidden object game. So yeah, although I don't know, I'm looking at the trailers like, is this also terrible FMV? If this is also terrible FMV, then hey, let's talk. I don't know who made the other one. Are they... What else have they made on Steam? They have made Grim Legends, The Forsaken Bride, Enigmatis, The Mists of Ravenwood, Abyss, The Wraiths of Eden, Nightmares from the Deep.
There's a pattern developing, isn't there?
Yeah. 2 other Nightmares from the Deep games. Clockwork Tales, Dark Ark. No, I was wondering if they were same people who made Questerium, but actually, no. They're not. They just make the same kind of game, pretty much. I was gonna say, it's hard to tell from the trailer because you don't know what's gameplay and what's not. If it's kind of got that same terrible FMV, that kind of it's amusing. I would kind of go for that. It's worth playing just to see the terribleness. Supreme League of Patriots is a hilarious and irreverent superhero comedy adventure. I'm really not sure what this is. A lot of people in strange superhero get-ups.
Oh, superheroes are in it.
I'll say, is this point-and-click stuff as well? Seems like it might be. It's also, yeah, no, it doesn't really kind of explain what the game is in any way, shape, or form. It looks mostly point-and-clicky, potentially. It's an episodic thing, so this is just like the start of it, I guess. Oh no, hang on, wait. It's episodic, but they're releasing all 3 episodes at the same time. Huh? What?
Just to confuse you.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you can buy the season pass and get all 3 episodes, but then on the Steam releases, like, episode 1, episode 2, and episode 3 are all out on the 29th of January. Huh. Okay then. Fine. Heroes of Might and Magic 3 HD Edition. I believe the Heroes of Might and Magic series is fairly popular. It's been around for quite some time. I've never particularly picked up on it myself, to be honest. So I guess this is a HD remake for people who want to revisit the really old ones, because what are they up to? They're like up to like 8 or 9 of them now, I think, aren't they? It's been around for some time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 15 years later. This must have been released in 2000 now. Which, I hate to say 15 years ago was 2000, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah, really doesn't.
I'm sure you've made a mistake there.
Yeah, surely it must only be the year 2005.
You've definitely made a mistake. That can't be right. I'm not that old.
No. Monstrum is a procedurally generated survival horror thing? I don't know. Oh, that's early access as well, so meh. Never mind.
Off, away with the list from you.
Away, we shall talk about you when you're complete. Forward to the Sky is a thing I seem to recall voting for on Steam Greenlight. I vaguely recall having seen this. I think this is... I think it's supposed to be a lot like Legend of Zelda, actually. It's kind of got a similar kind of aesthetic kind of going on. Some of the, perhaps, GameCube kind of era ones, maybe. Those sort of games. The 3D action adventure kind of thingy, running around, hitting enemies with swords.
I could go for that.
Yeah, that looks kind of cool, actually. So that was pretty cool. Reverse Side! For the... I don't even know how manyth time at this point.
6th?
Possibly. Well... Stranger things have happened. I mean, if Raven's Cry's coming out tomorrow, then surely Reverse Side will be out as well.
That's the
logic.
Theory.
Well, we still have our little bet going on, don't we? It's like you think Reverse Side's coming out before Raven's Cry, right?
I don't even know anymore.
Well, I was meaning Michael more was the one who wanted the little side bet thing that you had going on.
I can't remember what the bet was.
Well, I'm in favour of Raven's Cry, obviously. I thought it's because Raven's Cry and Reverse Side are the two that just keep getting delayed, and we keep mentioning them over and over again because they keep popping up in the release list.
Okay, okay, Reverse Side will come out first.
I'm glad you're on the ball with that one.
Yeah, I remember. I can't remember what the forfeit is.
I don't think we ever really kind of came to any conclusion or thought it through beyond, hey, let's have a bet.
Well, do you want to come up with a forfeit? That's
Forfeit?
reasonable.
No.
Oh dear.
All right then. Neko-chan Hero Collection.
How about this?
Oh, okay, fine.
If
Go on.
If you lose, you have to buy that kitten explosion thing.
Never! Alright, and if you lose... Do I have to come up with something for you now?
Yeah, but it's got to be within reason.
Well, how much are we talking for the kitten explosion thing then? You're talking about me expending money here, so I'd, like, what budget are we talking? So I have to spend $20. We're talking about...
Okay, $20 limit, yeah.
$20 limits. Oh. Alright then. Let's see. I know. And I don't know how much it's called. I don't know how much it is, but I'm gonna force you to buy. Yeah, it's only £5. Yeah, that'll work. Well, it might be £7, but Honey Pop. You've got to buy Honey Pop on Steam.
Oh.
Pickup Artist Simulator with Bejeweled.
Go on. You've got a virtual agreement, Mr. Big.
You can go download some porn into your Steam library.
Well,
So everyone in the world would go, that's Button Mash Horse. He's a right pervert. Sitting there playing porn in front of everyone.
I thought this was common knowledge by now.
You have to rate it in the Steam curation as well.
Not using my account.
Yep.
You could start your own thing. You can start Button Mash Horse Recommends. And they can all just be really pornographic stuff.
If we're adding tag-ons here, you have to film a video of you playing that kitten game dressed as a kitten.
Whoa. Now you're forcing me to buy kitten outfits, and I don't have a kitten outfit.
Homemade kitten outfit.
I'm not that creative.
Will is.
Well, he's going to make me a chainmail kitten outfit.
I'll make you an Eva foam set of kitten ears. How about that?
Right. Okay.
And a tail.
No, I draw the line at the tail.
What's the next game?
The next game, which I already announced, but you interrupted me, is Neko-chan Hero Collection. Which doesn't sound much better than the shit we're just talking about.
Nope.
I guess it's about some kind of cat girl who's going to go and do some stuff. It's a pixel art 2D platformer. It looks like it was probably on Xbox Live Indie Games or possibly iOS. I think it was probably iOS. Yes. Right at the bottom of the page, Neko-chan Hero Ninja World is the first platform game that I created, now on Steam. I'm not going to get my hopes up too much on that one.
No, it's not very encouraging.
No. Stardust Vanguards. This is a local 4-player dueling game in the style of old-school anime space operas, blending precision high-speed mecha warfare with overwhelming numbers of NPC reinforcements. I'm not sure what I just read, but I like the sound of it. It's another one of those things that's doing fairly pretty-looking pixel art.
Okay.
It's like pixel art, but we're not being lazy about it. It's not simple pixel art. It's like really quite detailed pixel art kind of thing. Looks kind of interesting. Sounds kind of interesting. If it's local multiplayer only, though, it's kind of probably going to see a fairly limited audience. I don't know if does it have a single. Yeah, it says multiplayer and local co-op. It doesn't actually even say single player in it, so I guess that when you're talking about PC, you kind of need at least some kind of single player, or you're kind of eliminating a good part of the audience, I think. We have Transform Ice, which is an MMO platformer that I'm pretty sure has been available in like a web game for fucking years. It's I can't for the life of me remember what it is. I remember people being obsessed with it at one point, and I can't remember what the hell it's about. Lots and lots and lots of mice fighting over cheese, I guess.
Well, them mice love that cheese.
Oh, and hats.
And mice love them hats.
I think this was sort of at the height of the TF2 LOL hats craze. I don't know. It's now on Steam, in case you're still playing it and still think it's good. I've heard there's with every weird sort of internet kind of based MMO or whatever, you always seem to get this weird player base that kind of follows it around, kind of like Spiral Knights. It's like, yeah, this game's good, and everybody else is like, why are you playing that?
Someone comes and slaps the sense out of you.
Yeah. We got Life is Strange, which we already covered. That's on Steam as well. First episode, actually quite cheap to be fair. First episode is only $3.99, so easy to access. Probably worth a look. Like I say, it's an episodic thing though, whereas I guess Remember Me wasn't. It was kind of all one deal. This is like, hey, just have a taste for £4. I could possibly do that. We have Formula Truck 2013. Be Still My Beating Heart.
I know, this is your game of the year, I've heard.
Yeah. Oh, 2013. Formula Truck 2013 is the official simulator of the popular Brazilian Formula Truck series.
Brazilian, though.
This is literally racing lorries around a race circuit. What in the name of shit?
Your enthusiasm just it comes out
The
from...
mind boggles that this is even a thing that exists. I'll recommend that one to Mod. He'd probably like that. He's into his trucks. Stock Car Extreme is a realistic racing game simulating Brazilian stock car V8 series. These are the same people who made the last bastard game. Okay. Now you can race other things around probably the same tracks. Yeah. Cars.
That's a thing.
Cars are a thing. I don't know what to say, they're cars.
They're trucks.
Well, some of them were cars, some of them were trucks. Survivalist is a thing. It's 1 year after the collapse of civilization, self-centered hedge fund manager Joe Wheeler emerges from his specially constructed bunker in search of food. An open-world RPG where you have the freedom to play how you want, but your choices have consequences. That doesn't look amazing. It sounds like they're going for the same kind of thing as, like, This War of Mine, maybe? Sort of in terms of compelling narrative, but the game looks... I'm not gonna lie, it looks pretty awful.
Yeah, I've seen better.
Yeah.
That's another tagline from the Mash game cover.
Yes, Button Mash Horse recommends, I've seen better. Dreamscape. Dreamscape is about a sword-wielding warrior maiden who apparently goes into battle wearing a corset.
Because that's the ideal battle outfit.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to provide much coverage either.
Works for Xena.
Well, yeah, she's the exception that proves the rule. This looks like RPG Maker stuff, to be honest, I think. I'm not rightly sure. Screenshots are not terribly enlightening, but there's a lot of stuff that looks very, very familiar from RPG Maker, so I suspect it's that kind of thing. Most of those things seem to have really fancy cover art, and then when you get to the game, it's like, yes, all that artwork that's on the cover, that's not anywhere anything like the game, is it? Eden, or Eden asterisk. I don't know what the asterisk entails. It presumably entails something. That's actually anime bullshit. It's a visual novel. That's what it is. I can't tell you much more about it.
Thanks for that.
It's probably the same as the others. It's probably you talk to anime girls, and if history is anything to go by, there's a very reasonable chance you end up getting in their pants. And that bit will have been censored out of the Steam version, and everybody will be really angry on the forums.
So, yay.
So yeah, of course it may not be. I may be doing it injustice. I mean, there are a few out there that are just actually reasonably compelling narratives that are not all about, hey, go get some.
Is that how you imagine that works?
That's how a lot of them work. That's how that honey pop that you're going to be buying works.
Well, I don't think so, Mr. Whiskers.
Oh, you wait. Tomorrow, when Raven's Cry comes out, you shall be regretting that choice. Apotheon. Apotheon is a heroic action game set within the vibrant world of ancient Greek mythology. It's done kind of in the style of like a Greek urn, kind of like, you know, the paintings they had on the side of all their pottery and stuff. That's kind of the style they're going for. Which is definitely a very unique style.
It reminds me of Nick's Quest.
I don't think I know much about that, so...
Nick's Quest was a Greek angel, I think. A very similar style.
Okay, fair enough. I seem to recall seeing this at PAX at some point, and it did seem to draw crowds, so I think there's a lot of people fairly interested in this. I don't know, it never really caught my attention to any great extent. And then finally, last but maybe not least, I don't know, Drive to Hell.
I'm on the... Oh, wait, that doesn't
Actually,
work.
to be fair, it looks better than some of the stuff we looked at today, so it's probably not least. Not a lot better, but hey. It is an action-packed shooter where you'll take a ride through an army of monsters to exact revenge on the Demon King for destroying your favourite dive bar.
That bastard.
It looks kind of bullet hell shootery kind of thing, but on a road. I don't know. You kind of have to like drive along and also dodge bullets and shit.
Avenging your
weird.
bar.
Avenging your bar, indeed. On the road to hell. I was kind of hoping it would be like a spin-off of Ride to Hell Retribution, but it's not. Oh well. Because that game was awful.
You were hoping for a spin-off?
Yeah, because it makes entertaining content of people getting very, very angry at how bad the game is.
Fair enough.
But that brings us to the end of the releases. In not an unreasonable time frame. I don't think we've done too badly.
Can I...
Was that a massive sigh of relief from you? I was like, oh, thank God that's over.
I'm afraid not, because I'm afraid I have to get quite personal with you all now. To quote one of the finest movies of this generation, I'm so lonely. I'm particularly lonely in the spirit of holidays that'll be coming up. Maybe Valentine's Day. I just can't think for the life of me what I'm going to do on that day.
Oh, well... Yeah, it is a predicament, I'll give you that.
If only there was some building or some event that I could go to on the day.
Well, you might just be in luck.
Really? Do tell!
Because Button Mash 10 is going to be having our anti-Valentine's Day event on February 14th.
Huzzah, I had no idea.
Well, you do now. Come on down and we'll be playing lots of video games and board games, and we'll have Rock Band, and we'll be having brand new mashup tournaments with all new features and all new interesting stuffs. The prizes to be won, drinks to be had, friends to be made, and not a drop of romance to be seen.
Wonderful. Sounds like my kind of jam.
Excellent.
I'm doing a thumbs up at the screen.
I'll be honest, I did wonder where you were going with that bit at the start.
I was trying a damn segue. That I don't think turned out too bad, actually. As John chokes to death.
I'm choking on my beer with emotion at how wonderful it was. Oh, God. That was something. That was a thing that happened.
That's an experience that we have all shared together.
Indeed. So with that in mind, do you want to end this damn show?
What, you don't want to go for another hour? Talk about Barry Chuckle some more.
Yeah, I don't think Barry Chuckle's got another hour of material in him.
Oh, yeah.
For the rest of his life.
For the rest of his life, that's all. No.
As brief as it may be.
Well, we can always have him on each week just to remind us whether he is or not alive.
We'll do a weekly Barry Chuckle, he's alright.
This weekly interview with Barry Chuckle. It's just, are you alive?
I'm not dead.
Find me that clip, please do.
Right. On that wonderfully morbid note, we'd like to thank you for listening to the Button Mash podcast. We really do appreciate it. If you want to find out more about Button Mash and our upcoming event on the 14th of February, you can find us on Facebook at
Facebook.com/buttonmash.
follow us on Twitter at
Twitter.com/button_mash_UK.
You can find our presence at Steam at
I still haven't recovered. Sorry. bits.ly/bmsteam.
You can find us on our website at
button-mash.net.
you can follow John and his YouTube channel, that is at
youtube.com/buttonmashempire.
And if you, for some reason, lose control of your faculties and want to give John some money for his Patreon series, that can be found at
patreon.com/buttonmash.
Once again, thank you very much for listening to the podcast. We really, truly do appreciate it. On behalf of myself and on behalf of John.
Thank you.
And on behalf of Will.
Thank you.
I'm Michael. This has been the Button Mash podcast. We will see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.